Round one, the Los Angeles Coliseum, where today the LA Raiders go against the Cleveland Browns. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Fricky. It is a beautiful day in Los Angeles. Temperature in the 70s, clear and sunny, perfect for playoff football. As you know, the Raiders come in with the best record in the American Conference, 8-1. A year ago, they weren't even in playoffs. John Brody, I think a lot of fans wonder if the Raiders are really as good as their record coming in. Paul McDonald, quarterback here at the Coliseum for the Southern California Trojans, never was in a losing game in the 12 he started, but he'll have a tough assignment today against a very good Raiders defense.
Don, if he can make it 13, he's done quite a job, because these fellas are sitting there saying, hey, nothing really matters as long as Marcus is well. Paul McDonald is going to have to play better than he has played heretofore, and the Cleveland Browns are going to have to play great defense.
Well, they're about ready to go, so let's go out to the field. The Raiders have won the toss, and they will receive to start the game. Tom Flores, Pro Football Writers Coach of the Year. In his first year with the Raiders, never had a Raider team beaten in playoff competition. Of course, he had the perfect season in the playoffs the year the Raiders won the Super Bowl. They've won it twice in the last 6 years. The kickoff goes deep, and Clee Montgomery, a former Brown, takes it back for the LA Raiders. He's out across the 20 to the 21-yard line. There, Los Angeles goes on offense, first and 10 with Jim Plunkett heading out to lead the offense. Marcus Allen, first team All-Pro and near the Pro Bowl, all this in his first season in the league. At one running back, Kenny King, a good runner, but more of a blocker now with Marcus Allen in. Cliff Branch still has the great deep speed. Martin Bowenwell's on the other side, and Todd Christensen, a good catching tight end. Up front, the Raiders are always strong with Davis, Marsh, Dalby, Marvin, and Lawrence. And now, the Raiders with the best record in the American Conference heading in, go from offense, first and 10. Play fake, and a home run ball coming right out of the block. Cliff Branch has the ball for the Raiders, and he's down to the Cleveland 16-yard line. Keeps on going. They're going to rule he was down at the 16. For the Raiders, who over the years have loved the long ball, hit for 64 yards on the first play from scrimmage.
People sit there, they talk about throwing motions. When you take a look, Jim Plunkett, he's got one of the most fluid long ball motions in the game. He's like tackling a flat rock. When you get him in a situation that he can throw a play-action pass on you, get a guy like Cliff Branch dissecting the secondary, he can put it up there as well as anybody. He did on this occasion. Branch made a nice adjustment to the ball, but that's vintage Plunkett. Real early, 64 yards.
64 it was, so the Raiders go to the bomb early, and now they have it first and 10 at the Cleveland 16. Kenny King runs, and the Browns defense it well. Cleveland with that good core of linebackers. Sam Ratigliano starting Clay Matthews for the first time in 4 months. He's been out with an ankle fracture, but Matthews, a former Southern California player starting at the right outside, was on the stop. The front is Marshall Harris. Bob Golick has done a big job since coming as a free agent middle guard. Mike Robinson there as the linebacking trio. Chip Banks, defensive rookie of the year. Tom Cousineau in there with Ambrose and Matthews. And the secondary, which has had its problems. The Pittsburgh Steelers had 521 yards offense against Cleveland last Sunday in winning. The Raiders with second down and 10. Kenny King again, and King is ahead to the 9-yard line. He's ahead for 7, as they've not yet gone to Marcus Allen. 13:02 left to play in the first quarter. The Raiders getting the ball on the opening kickoff, and on the first play from scrimmage, the bomb. Jim Plunkett, a 64-yard strike to Cliff Branch. Kenny King, who had 3 touchdowns in the Raiders' Super Bowl win over Philadelphia, starting in the backfield with Marcus Allen. Third down and really almost 4 yards as Plunkett takes a look. Into the end zone, Branch goes for the ball, but it's too long. That brings up 4th down, and the Raider field goal unit comes out. The Barr brothers kicking against each other. Fritz for the Raiders and Matt for the Browns.
And it's a big hole that the Cleveland defense made there. Sam said earlier that if we can keep them from running away with the ball game, I think we'll be in excellent position to make a few big plays and get a good chance to win the game. He said, you know, they can blow you right out, and they've done it so often that you have to watch for Cliff Branch on a big play early, getting them out of the box fast. If they got that, they're still going to have to settle for 3.
Chris Barr ready to try now. A 27-yarder. He's made his last 6 in league play, and he gets this one to open the scoring in this playoff game. So the Raiders, after the big play from Plunkett to Branch, get the field goal from 27 yards out. And they open up a 3-0 lead. Los Angeles will kick off when we come back. Today's playoff game is Gillis Coliseum, an estimated crowd of 50 to 55,000 here as the Raiders, 8-1 coming in, have scored on their first possession on a field goal by Chris Barr, who now kicks it off. Dino Hall, 5 yards deep, wisely elects not to bring it out. The Raiders, historically with great special teams play, and they had a wave of silver and black sweeping down to cover the kickoff. McDonald at quarterback for Cleveland. Mike Pruitt and a former USC Heisman Trophy winner Charles White, tailback. Dave Logan's been catching the ball well lately. Ricky Feature, the other wide receiver, and Ozzie Newsome, who always has a big year at tight end. The offensive line must come together. They've not protected their quarterback well in the recent weeks. Deacon, Jackson, Babb starting for DeLeon at center, Delamalier at right guard, and Cody Rison. Now the Browns have the ball for the first play from scrimmage from their 20. Mike Pruitt, the fullback, runs it, but the Raiders give him virtually nothing as Lyle Alzado, the ex-Brown, comes up to make the stop. Number 77, they start up early. White took a shot at him. Howard Long, a potential great one out of Villanova. Reggie Kinlaw and Alzado up front in the defensive three. Hendricks, Millen, Nelson, and Martin back the line. Hendricks headed to the Pro Bowl again. So is cornerback Lester Hayes. Watts at the other corner. Mike Davis and Burgess Owens, the safeties. So there was no gain on the first play from scrimmage for the Browns, and they go 2nd and 10. Paul McDonald runs it down, and he throws a strike for a Cleveland first down. Coming out of the backfield and catching the ball, Dwight Walker. So the Browns are ahead now to the 35-yard line. A 15-yard gain on the play. Dwight Walker, a rookie out of Nicholls State.
You'll notice McDonald in the first, 2nd, and 9 situation. That's the type of situation he'd like to stay out of because Oakland's got an exceptional pass rush. 2nd and 9 is a certain passing down. He'd love to be able to operate 1st and 10, throw play-action passes where he thinks he can get some crossing patterns, which take a while to develop, and I think you'll probably see one here.
Right now, they go to the pitch back. The tailback, Charles White, turning the corner, but there's nothing there. The Oakland Raiders bring out the defense. Rod Martin, the right outside linebacker, was on the stop for the LA Raiders, and so it will bring up 2nd down and 10.
What makes it doubly tough, Don, for a quarterback when you're playing against the Raiders is that you know they can do both run the ball and throw it effectively. Charles White is an excellent runner, but no one has run the ball effectively on the Raiders all year long. It's just an extremely tough defense to run the ball against. You take Alzado, Kinlaw, Long. These guys are tough.
And they sure have not given up much to the rush. They were 2nd in the entire league behind Pittsburgh. Raiders lying only 86 yards a game. McDonald puts his hand up, lets the ball fly, but it's slapped right back at him as Alzado busted on through. Alzado says too much has been made, John, of the trade, but he said the one part of the trade that does rankle him is that all Cleveland got in return was an 8th-round draft choice. He feels that's all they felt he was worth.
Well, you see, sometimes you're in a bind. You don't know as a coach whether you want to let a guy that's given you so much, like Lyle Alzado had in Cleveland, and let him go. But they weren't able to trade a whole lot for him. He knew he had a young player that might be able to help him, and he gave away something that regenerated.
3rd and 10. The final half of Scramble runs into his own man as the Raiders, with an enormous pressure from the left side, just overpower the Browns. Right tackle Cody Rison was run over.
My goodness. Howie Long got in there so fast on the play, but we're taking a look at some of the offensive play. Dave Logan, who's an outstanding receiver, running against Watts, Ted Watts, a #1 draft choice. One-on-one coverage. Didn't have to cover anybody that time because his defensive end just ran over the top of everyone.
Well, when we were talking, John, to Lyle Alzado, he said he thinks that Howie Johnson or Howie Long has the potential to be another Merlin Olsen, which is saying something.
It is indeed.
A long punt now downfield, and Greg Pruitt, the ex-Brown, brings it back for the Raiders. He's out to the 31-yard line. And there Los Angeles goes on offense again. 1st and 10, a 53-yard punt by Steve Cox. We'll be back to the Los Angeles Coliseum right after this. High above the Los Angeles Coliseum, the Goodyear Blimp Columbia with Tom Nettis at the controls. Jim Plunkett's first throw of this game was his longest completion of the season, 64 yards to Cliff Branch, and it was Branch's longest reception. Now the Raiders go on offense a second time, leading 3-0. Raiders go to the run, and Marcus Allen's first carry is good for 13 yards and a first down. The Raider fans here as their team has taken a 3-0 lead. Raiders on offense now 13-10 from the 24-yard line. Malcolm Barnwell, 80, back in motion toward the line, and Plunkett going along again. Almost had another one.
That was a perfect throw. Now, you can't see when you're sitting back there in the middle of a pocket with 7 people rushing, and you'll notice the 2 top linebackers, Cousineau and Banks, both trying to get to Plunkett. They know they have to put some time on him, but that puts a one-on-one situation back there with Branch. Plunkett finds it. Great opportunity to hit Branch. Hits him right on the numbers.
Branch got the first one, you remember, for 64 yards, and shortly thereafter, the LA Raiders had a 3-0 lead on the Chris Barr field goal. Now Branch goes out on the left flank. Open backfield, second down and 10, Los Angeles. Over the middle, a hard strike and an equally hard tackle. Christensen, the receiver, and Tom Cousineau, number 50, nailed him.
Well, Plunkett had to come off, and it really wasn't an effective play for the offense. We've talked about the 2 outstanding linebackers. They may have 4 in Cleveland. But the linebacker drops are exceptional. This time, this is Chip Banks, who was voted the Rookie of the Year in the National Football League, the AFC Defensive Player. He gets back as fast as you can expect a man that weighs 235 pounds to get back and cover his area. You can see the 3 Browns right in tandem, no open hole. Had to come off.
The reception makes it third down and 3. And the kick back goes to Allen, and it looks like a second charge after he was hit carried him to a first down to the 35-yard line. The Raiders roll on as Marcus Allen, who rushed for 2,300 yards last season, most of it in this stadium for Southern California. Ripping it up here.
It's so big, sometimes the amount of yards don't do justice to the importance of the game, because picking up on 3rd and 3 a first down is a very difficult thing to do. And he picks it up regularly. That just gives a quarterback an extra dimension to keep his drive going.
Marcus Allen averaged 5.7 yards this season for the Raiders every time he handled the ball. Now they go to King. Davis is out in front, and Kenny King goes across the 40 and out to the 43-yard line. Banks ran him out.
He ran him out, but he ran him out late. What you do is you look at film of another team, and you see how their tendencies are. Every time that Marcus Allen is on the strong side of the field, next to the tight end, you'll see a simple little play to the strong side. Except this time it didn't work. Instead of running to the weak side with Marcus Allen, they give it to Kenny King on a counter play. Chip Banks had trouble containing. They pick up 8 yards. It's a quarterback's dream, 2nd and 2.
Chip Banks, who was Marcus Allen's roommate last year in college. It was a heck of a room. Well, Scott would like to have that room. Kenny King runs the ball to the 50-yard line on 2nd down and 2, and the Raiders have another first down with great power football. 5:36 to play in the first quarter. Los Angeles in the lead, 3-0.
Well, Bob Golick, number 79 from Notre Dame. Cleveland's very happy to have picked him up as a reject. He was well known in college, got let go. Since he's come to the Browns, he has played that nose tackle, which is a very difficult position to play, and very well.
Marty Schottenheimer, the defensive coordinator, said of Golick, he hasn't played good football, he's played inspired football. He's been a big factor in the defense. Marcus Allen, the high school quarterback, looks to throw. Now he's got to head the other way, and he's got some room. Look at the move by Allen. Marcus Allen, behind the line of scrimmage, apparently was trapped, and he got the head for a 9-yard gain. Golick finally ran him down for Cleveland.
Not only did he run him down, Don, and this is a great play by 2 players. Number 1, Marcus Allen made 9 yards out of a very bad play. But 2, Bob Golick is hit by 2 offensive players to keep him from getting to Marcus in the first place. He gets off in pursuit. Lo and behold, he comes back and makes the play.
But the Raiders advance the ball 9 yards downfield, so they're down close to the 40-yard line of Cleveland. Los Angeles leading 3-0. Hawkins threw it in the backfield, and Greg Pruitt stepping back through, comes on a slant and a penalty marker comes in. 2 National Conference playoff games have been decided. Rob McElwee gives us the sign. At Washington, the Redskins rolled over Detroit 31-7.
That was the close one.
That was the close one. At Green Bay, the Packers rolled on. They beat the St. Louis Cardinals 41-6.
Second down.
As we hear the holding penalty call, that's penalty number 87 for the Raiders. And people used to say, you know, you can't keep committing personal fouls, getting penalties, and be any good. They did the same thing when they won the Super Bowl, so I don't know what's right. I know it's 2nd and 11.
2nd and 11 it is after the holding call. They got Henry Lawrence on it. The Raiders just back on their side of midfield. Here's a throw to Pruitt. Tries to put a move on and gets ahead to the 42-yard line of Cleveland. Will be 3rd down and 2 or 3. Hanford Dixon and Ron Bolton were on the stop for Cleveland. At the Orange Bowl in Miami, the Patriots and the Dolphins are scoreless in the first quarter. The other AFC playoff opener today.
Johnny, again, this is a perfect example to illustrate the importance of a Marcus Allen. It's 3rd down and 3. It's generally a passing situation. For 90% of the professional teams, it is. For the Oakland Raiders, it's about 50-50. They've got about a 70% of the chance of picking up the first down, running the ball with Marcus Allen, about the same throwing the ball. So that's why you see their 3rd down conversions are so high.
Well, right now they have 3rd down and a long 2 as Plunkett takes the deep drop. He's looking for a long ball. He's going to Christensen. And he is intercepted again. The Browns again picking up Jim Plunkett. Number 16 throws his second, and Hanford Dixon was the man on the interception end for the Browns. So again, Cleveland stops a Raiders threat with a 2nd consecutive interception with 4:01 to play in the first quarter.
Well, Plunk goes back. He's trying to get a deep corner pattern. No one thinks that's the pattern he would call in the huddle. He makes the throw just a little bit underneath. Dixon takes advantage of it. That's the second ball that's been picked off, intended for Christensen.
Hanford Dixon, a former number 1 draft choice of the Cleveland Browns out of Southern Mississippi. Now in his 2nd year with the team. That was his 5th interception this season. And so the Browns go back on offense, where in previous possessions here in the first quarter they've been unable to move the ball with any consistency. Donald said before the game he's got to get the short passes to get the pass rush if we can. Here's a pitch back. Mike Pruitt turns upfield and does well as he hangs out close to the 25-yard line. A gain of almost 7.
Just taking a look at Charles White trying to block Ted Hendricks. I had the feeling he was patting him on the head saying, now, fella, you don't want to do that, do you? Charles White, by the way, is an outstanding blocker. Every team seems to have a guy that they think is the best blocking back in the league. He happens to be the designated blocker for Cleveland.
Well, as you know, John, the Raiders say they've got the best one in Marcus Allen.
Well, he might be.
2nd down and 4 now. Play take, and here's McDonald throwing to an open man. Ozzie Newsome turns the corner, trying to run wide. Now there's a penalty marker coming in against the Raiders. So the Browns get 16 yards on the pass completion to Ozzie Newsome, and they'll get some more on a personal foul call against Los Angeles. Royce Mask gives the call, so the ball will be advanced downfield, depending on the severity of the infraction. It can be anywhere from 5 to 15 yards.
This is only going to be a 5-yarder, but the first down play gave Paul McDonald an opportunity to run a play-action pass. And a play-action pass is one that he can either hold the linebacker, go back and hit the tight end where the linebacker should be. That's exactly what he did. The first down play that picked up 7 yards gave him that chance.
I saw Art McNally, the head of officials, and Norm Schechter before the game. We're talking about Oakland leading the league, or the Raiders leading the league in penalties. He said, yeah, because they fouled the most. Won the most. On 1st and 10, Charles White runs the ball straight ahead. The man who had those great seasons here, rushing for some 4,800 yards as a collegiate player at Southern California, set an NCAA record. White's caught a lot of balls this year, 34. Marcus Allen also led the American Conference in receptions for running backs with 38. That was Charles White's 35th reception. 35 for Charles with 2:45 to play first quarter, and the Raiders leading 3-0. 2nd down and 6. McDonald. Only for the moment. As the leading reception team in the NFL, the Raiders get their 40th of the season. They've had 2 today.
Well, he ducked enough to keep his head inside his helmet and go back to the huddle and call another play, but he didn't duck quite enough to keep the ball alive. A play-action pass, Hendricks is buying none of it. From the offside, you have to depend on protection. He didn't get it, the play bust.
Now, 2:24 and the clock running is Hendricks, who's only been great for 14 years in the NFL out of Miami, Florida. Game here from the Green Bay Packers for the Raiders. He's going to the Pro Bowl again. That was his 8th sack of the season. He and Alzado each game with 7 sweeps. Third down and 16 now for the Raiders. Pass rush will be coming. Here it is as McDonald stands in. He gets some time, throws the ball out. A well-thrown ball, and Dwight Walker looks like he came down with it.
He did, and he got it about a yard and a half short of the first down. You see McDonald.
Jeff Barnes ran him out, a 255-pound linebacker, 56. McDonald got time, though. The Cleveland pass blocking very good.
He got enough time, and that's all you have to give a man that's running a fan pattern. Walker's a halfback, ran a fan on a linebacker. Jeff Barnes made an excellent catch, perfect throw. They're still a little short, and I think you'll see they're going to punt.
And the rookie Dwight Walker now, John's got 2 for 30 yards, but as we saw, he was a yard short. Well, Cox, who punted the ball in very well for Cleveland, his 2 previous attempts, and now try to pin the Raiders back in their end of the field.
What did we say? We said the Raiders love adversity. Plunkett's already thrown 2 interceptions. You don't see any points on the board against them.
Not yet. A timeout on the field with 1:56 left to play in the first quarter. And the Cleveland Browns ready to punt the ball back to Los Angeles. Mom, get down.
Put it to him, Ma.
So now while we have a break in the action here at Los Angeles, let's bring it. Thank you, Len. And here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, after that timeout, the Browns talked it over, and they're keeping the offense on the field with 4th and 1. They're going to go for it.
Well, I'm sure it was a little closer than Sam originally thought. He's got it within a yard, maybe a yard and a foot as we take a look at Johnny Robinson. He's been in this situation several times, but generally not the same one Sam is. He feels he's a little the underdog. They've got to get a play like this to give him a chance to win.
As Robinson looks down, a lot of his ex-Trojans out there. The Browns going for it on 4th and 1. The pitch back. Mike Pruitt. He did not get there. Matt Miller, a big Penn State linebacker, 55, jumped into the gap and slammed down Mike Pruitt.
That's what makes it tough. That's why the Raiders are the Raiders. They can stuff you when they need to. They play right along the line of scrimmage. You see Lyle Alzado, 77, giving no ground. Matt Millen comes right in behind, takes off the point of attack. 4th and 1, no go.
So the Browns trailing 3-0 with 1:46 to play in the first quarter. Gamble don't get there on the run by Pruitt. Matt Millen with the big defensive play. The whole Raider unit shuts down the Browns blocking, though. And now Los Angeles goes on offense, 1st and 10 at the Raiders' 45-yard line. Raiders lead 3-0. The ball in the Raider backfield as Marcus Allen got it, ran wide. Looked like he tried to pitch it back.
You know who made a good play? Is Jim Plunkett. Very seldom do you see a quarterback hand the ball off to a running back like he did then to Marcus Allen and be able to keep control of himself and see it go on the ground, come back and fall on it. That's an excellent play. Saves the drive. You can't see it, I believe, as he tries to get out around the end. Plunkett's alert enough to see it and picks it up.
Browns just stripped the ball from Marcus Allen. Second down and 14. Here's a swing pass out in the flat. Nelson Barnwell gets the ball, working ahead. He's going to be close to, but not quite far enough for a first down. Strong safety Clinton Burrell, number 49, knocked him down for Cleveland.
They're trying to put some pressure on Plunkett. We take a look at Chip Banks. Nowhere near the play because he was trying to get to Jim Plunkett. Coming on a late blitz. He leaves the area of his coverage alone and leaves no one in front of Barnwell. Plunkett throws it before he takes the hit. They've got 3rd down and 1.
That Chip Banks can deliver some hits. The defensive rookie of the year for the Browns, their number 1 draft choice. Now 3rd down and 1. The Raiders begin with extra tight ends. Ramsey's in the game. Christensen, that's Derek Simpson, a blocking tight end in. Plunkett takes a look again, throws in the flat. And Robinson there, and the Raiders have a first down as Marcus Allen heading for the end zone. He's stepped out of bounds at the 11-yard line. So 3rd Raiders cross him up. 35-yard gain.
And how many dimensions can one man add to a football team? Watch number 32 when he catches the ball. There's no one down there. But watch how he turns his body towards the tackle. He's a tough man to touch, let alone tackle.
Oh, they love Marcus Allen in the Raider organization. Sam Bogosian, the offensive line coach, has said everybody hopes his son turns out to be as fine a young man. Just the leadership in addition to his great abilities as a player. Marcus Allen now with the Raiders on offense steps into the I formation as you see New England and Miami still scored up at the Owensboro second quarter. Ahead they go to Marcus Allen. He drives it down inside the 10-yard line to the 9 on a 1st and 10 carry. Chip Banks and Tom Kuzma made the stop. I thought Tom Flores had an interesting observation, John, before the game. He said, when you look at the season, we really are moving into the 10th week of play. This is when the good teams should start to peak, so maybe Cleveland will still get it going.
And some of the older players, John, play at the peak of their ability. The guys like Lyle Alzado and Ted Hendricks.
John Cookie with John Brody as comments with Raider ladies. And right now, the Raiders have moved the ball down to the 9-yard line of Cleveland, where it's going to be 2nd down and 8. Everybody was delighted to see Cleveland owner and President Art Modell in good spirits and in good health after a scare early in the week. He's fine. Got his Browns out early on Tuesday. They did from Southern California. Now the Browns come on the big pass rush. Clay Matthews comes on a blitz. We'll see if it's a free ball if they rule it.
They ruled it down, Don, and he wanted to go to Christensen. Christensen could not get free, and it would have to have been thrown in a 2-second drop. That is not the Raiders' style. They give. You see Clay Matthews, who made the stop. They depend on their quarterback getting 3 or 4 seconds to throw. We watched Christensen running his route. By the time he looks back to Plunkett, the play is dead. Let's go back to the huddle and regroup.
That they do, so the Browns get their first sack. See what Los Angeles has done on first downs. Most of them came on the first play of the game, a 64 yards from Plunkett to Branch. Now Plunkett stands in. He has a problem, eludes it for the moment, throws on the run, and the ball is tipped away and intercepted by... No, they really did not have it. Ron Bolton had his hands on the ball, but apparently it touched the ground. But the Browns make fine defensive moves to shut off what looked like a touchdown to Barnwell.
Down 2 great plays by Clarence Scott early in the first half, and this one is better than all of them. He comes out, it looks like a certain touchdown. When Plunkett's out of the pocket, that's when he can really hurt a team. Clarence Scott comes back, makes a great step, get one hand on the ball and save a touchdown.
Christensen 46 and Malcolm Barnwell 80 right there waiting for it. But the Browns cut it off, and so now after the deep drive, the Raiders have to go back to the field goal. Chris Parr kicking for Los Angeles, his brother Matt for Cleveland. Boys before the game said their folks back home at State College, Pennsylvania, just hoping they make all of them. That's what they're rooting for, but Chris doesn't make this one. And so the long drive downfield, no points. We'll be back with the Raiders in the lead 3. Back and ready to go on an 80-degree sunshiny day in Southern California is John Matuzak. Big Two's out with a back problem, has not played this season for the Raiders. Been in and out of traction. They're hoping to get him back next year.
Hey, what? They had a man that took his place, but it's just come on so strong. And the Chiefs got to be very healthy next year.
Howie Long, the young defensive end, playing for Tuzak, and now down the field, the long throw goes to Feature. He's in the end. He has the ball for Cleveland. Ricky Feature going way up, a wide receiver sprinter. He comes down with a 47-yard gainer for the Browns to the 33-yard line of Los Angeles.
And guess who he beat? He beat a man they don't generally even try. Number 37, Lester Hayes, who has to be as good on one-on-one cover as there's been in this game the last 10, 15 years. He really had the play covered, but Feature blocked him out like grabbing a rebound, came up with a big 47-yarder, and this is the first time that the Browns have really moved.
Their biggest advance of the game, without question. Lester Hayes headed to the Pro Bowl again, but that time he was beaten. Now, McDonald plays fakes, he stands in, he's looking deep. Lets it go, and here's a man open. Ozzie Newsome can't quite get to the ball at the 15-yard line. Ozzie was open, the pass a little long as you see McDonald's numbers early in the game.
Yeah, and that was a perfect illustration of an opportunity on a play-action pass to hit for another big gainer. He got plenty of time to throw the ball. He could have picked any one of 3 receivers. He picked Newsome and overthrew him.
So the Browns, who came in a big underdog, have seen their defense bend, but as the old saying goes, not break, only 3 points. The Raiders have so far in the game on the 27-yard field goal at first possession by Chris Barr. Now second and 10 for Cleveland. Mike Pruitt trying to cut back, lost his footing. Hendricks is on it. Third down and 10 for Cleveland.
Those plays look bad on television. If you're sitting at home and you don't get an opportunity to see the whole scope of the defense, you say, why would the runner try that play? He couldn't have gone anywhere if he'd cut up. But if you're looking from this angle, you see absolutely no holes. Along the line of scrimmage, the Raiders are playing the run exceptionally well. If you're Cleveland, you're going to have to protect from McDonald, and he's going to have to throw the ball because they're not going to run it today.
A familiar number, New England against Miami. A field goal by Smith puts the Patriots up 3-0. Same numbers were on the board at the end of the game in that ice-covered field at Foxborough in the regular season. Here's a hard throw and an incomplete pass. Hendricks is right there to hit Pruitt when the ball came in. With the penalty marker down, it's going to go against the Browns from the preliminary indication, a holding call. Sam Rutigliano said at the outset of the game, our number one priority.
Number 71, offense, penalty decline, fourth down.
Our number one priority is protecting our passers.
We have an interesting situation here. I don't know if this is beyond Barr's
pretty close to being
range, but it's going to be over 50 yards. It's going to be a 53-yard attempt. I was thinking they might have a go at it in 4th and 10. Certainly wouldn't punt from the 35-yard line.
The Barr brothers getting together before the game down the playing field, Chris and Matt. Todd is longtime soccer coach at Penn State. There's the field goal attempt. It is hit well and through. So Matt Barr drills through his longest field goal of this season, and the game is tied at 3-all. A great hit by Barr. It's a 3-3 game.
Could have been 60.
Len, as we have 12:34 to go now. John Smith with the field goal, 23 yards out, and Matt Barr with one here at Los Angeles from 52 yards, his longest ever, and it ties the Cleveland Brown record set many years ago by Lou Groza.
That is in a playoff, right? In the first half.
And here comes Pruitt, moving the ball back across the 1-yard line. Off against the Steelers at Pittsburgh. Check your local listings for the game in your area. We'll kick off today at 12 noon with NFL 82 on the home of the Super Bowl, NBC Sports. Plunkett's numbers, one he doesn't like, the final one on the right. The 2 interceptions by Cleveland have stopped Raider drives. Now the decision to return a kickoff from the end zone results in the Raiders going from deep in their own area, 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line. Plunkett takes a look and throws in the pass. The ball is caught by Chris Branch, and he's out to the 23-yard line. And prediction drilled in there, but it's another good game for the Raiders on the pass play. Good for a first down.
Don, this is an optional throw. Plunkett looks at the defense. First he looks to the right side, notices they're in a roll zone, which means there's 2 people to the right. That means makes 1-on-1 coverage between Branch and Dixon. Anytime he gets that, he's going to throw it over there to number 21. That's second catch for 75 yards, and I'm sure there'll be more.
First and 10, the handoff and the turn up field by Kenny King results in a gain of only a couple of yards to the 25-yard line. Tom Cousineau, number 50, filling.
We talked about number 56 being Rookie of the Year. This is Cousineau's first year in the National Football League, and everybody knows the notoriety that he has gained. Number 50, Tom Cousineau, sliding left, meets the play right at the line of scrimmage, 2nd down and 8.
Buzz Deacon, the Browns offensive tackle, said, we don't want 55% of the growth, we want 55% of Cousineau's contract. Cousineau playing a big game so far. Here is a dump-off pass to Marcus Allen. It moves, and Allen slides upfield on 2nd and 8 and gets out to the 32 or 3-yard line. Looks like he may have another first down for the Los Angeles Raiders.
He's going to break a few kneecaps putting moves on defensive players like he does. When he catches the ball, that's when the game starts. He's simply an outlet receiver. It's silly to have your great running back sitting there doing a lot of blocking. Jim Brown started this trend. Just slide out of there. If you throw him the ball, he's more liable to pick up 50 yards than he is 5. That time he gets within. He did pick up the first down for him.
Allen's now caught 2 passes, good for 43 yards. 11 minutes to go in the first half, game tied 3-3. Raiders from their 34. Jim Plunkett's been looking long a lot today. Now he's got Christensen wide open underneath the deep coverage, and Christensen on the run across midfield and down to the 42-yard line of Cleveland. Clinton Burrell, the strong safety, finally knocked him down, but he did it 23 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's the first time that the Christensen's really had an opportunity to get clear today. Play action pass again. Got the linebackers off of the tight end. Todd Christensen, 42 receptions during the regular season, second to Winslow, I believe, in the AFC. He gets in a lot of play-action situations where they can throw him the ball just as they did then. He's picked up good 20, 25, 30 yards.
Christensen, a number 2 draft choice some years ago, the Dallas Cowboys, but they couldn't find a place for him, thought they'd made a draft mistake. The Raiders brought him in, moved him to tight end. He's been outstanding. Here's a swing pass to Kenny King. Doctors in front of Christensen. And King goes down to the 30-yard line. Kenny King with a gain of 12 yards and another Raider first down. Hanford Dixon knocked him out. So the Raiders getting a lot of offense, but not a lot of points here in the first half. The game is tied 3-3. 9:57 to play in the first half. The overhead look at the Los Angeles Coliseum. This is the first playoff game in the Coliseum since the Rams were here 4 years ago. And after a smoggy, overcast day earlier in the week, it's turned out to be exquisite. Maybe a little warm for the Browns. It's up around 80. First down and 10 Raiders. Marcus Allen from way deep in the tailback slot gets the pitch back and gets ahead for about 4. And Matigliano looking out as his Browns give up some yardage. Now let's go back to Len Berman in New York.
Pass is on quickly.
Thank you, Len. Well, right now the Raiders have the ball. Second down and a long 5 coming up. Almost 6. Plunkett takes a look. Rush is there. Here's the throw. He's got it in. Puts it. He lost the ball. But he got some more yards and he fumbled it. The bounds is the 2.
Well, it's not so bad if when you lose it out of bounds and straight ahead. Boy, that's what it's so nice to have a Cliff Branch. Every time he's one-on-one, you can see Plunkett chasing at the line of scrimmage. Look how sweet this is. One-on-one coverage. Let's go out to Cliff. That's 3 for 99 yards. A little boost with the fumble out of bounds.
3 for 99. First reception of the day for Branch at 64 yards in his 11th year from Colorado. And Brown coaches, after looking at the film, so this guy 11 years later hasn't lost his step. And that's correct. So now the Raiders down close. At the Cleveland 2. Marcus Allen, the deep set in the eye. He gets the pitch. And here comes Marcus Allen scoring his 15th touchdown of the season. He led the NFL with 14 runs, 14 scores this season, and now he's in for the first touchdown of this day. Particularly here at the Coliseum.
And look at number 23, Mark Simpson. You think he isn't getting an education? He didn't even get his hand on it.
So the Raiders this time move downfield and come up with points after being stopped earlier. Marcus Allen averaging 40 yards a rush. The Browns are key on. He's gained 33 yards and 8 carries. Last 1 minute is productive, and now the extra point by Chris Bard. The 10th point is on the board. 9:08 to play in the first half, and the Raiders have opened up a 10-3 lead over Cleveland. We'll be back with the Los Angeles kickoff after this. The Raiders just went a long way with Marcus Allen in the end zone for the first touchdown of the day, as they now lead the game by a score of 10-3. Don Quickie with John Brody. Raiders getting a lot of yards, John, and finally a touchdown.
Well, you know, generally, almost shifts. If you get the ball down there 3 times, you don't make anything from it. The game gets to 3-3. They grab the ball first and 10 on their own 12-yard line. They move 88 yards for a touchdown. So you just throw out all the cliches when you talk about the Raiders.
You can throw the records look out the window.
You can throw everything out.
All right, the kickoff now, and this time Pruitt wisely elects not to bring it out. You recall Cleveland knocking him down at the 11 last time he came out from the end zone. And it is 1st and 10 for the Cleveland Browns. Paul McDonald at quarterback.
Southpaw, left-armer, out of nearby Anaheim, California. Has had great success here in the stadium. Quarterback USC does 2 Rose Bowl wins. The nearby Rose Bowl in Pasadena. National championship team used also the Signal Colorado. Out of the last 3 regular season games for Cleveland, they won 2. Hit back to Charles White, and he's ahead for 3 yards. We apologize for the audio breakup. That's being worked on right now as we have 8 minutes and 51 seconds left to play in the first half.
Charles White, 5'11", about 190.
You know, you look at a runner's statistics, and so many things have an effect on what that 3.8 or 4.7 yard average means. In Cleveland, it means he's had an awfully good year because I don't think their offensive line has moved people around like they have in the past, and it's tougher on the back.
McDonald throwing under pressure. That's incomplete. He was trying to go to Charles White coming out of the backfield. Dolphins, Woodley throwing on that fake. You saw a little bit ago, leading now the New England Patriots by a score of 7-3. 8:26 to go here at the Los Angeles Coliseum. There's Tom Flores, who's been a big winner since taking over, and Plunkett said of Flores, one thing about him when he moved up to head coach from assistant, he didn't change a bit, and we appreciate that.
He's got a quality that so many head coaches would love to have, and so few do. He is the same, win, lose, or draw.
Got the program under control, and now 3rd down in the long 6. Logan comes in motion. McDonald drops the throw. Gets in, has time. Logan's going for the ball. Can't quite get to it at the Raiders' 35-yard line. Then Watt was covering.
Well, we mentioned earlier that they'd like to give one-on-one coverage, Logan against Watt, because Logan is starting to play better, but Watt has covered him very closely all day.
Penalty, John, against the Raiders back at the line of scrimmage.
Keeps the drive alive, it appears.
That throw on a 3rd down and about 7. And the penalty will move the ball up. Now they're having an official discussion, but the initial signal was against the Raiders, and here's the mark-off. It's a big one. Must be a personal foul.
And if he keeps yelling, it'll get bigger.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 68, defense. First down.
Johnny Robinson from Louisiana Tech into pass rush. Those Raiders will be unnecessarily rough on occasion.
Well, they're getting there so quick.
Look at Johnny.
They're all having a little conference back there at McDonald's.
One of the Los Angeles papers said of the Raiders, they are to pro football what the Hells Angels are to motorcycle riding.
And they like it.
They do, and they win 8-1. And now, though, on the personal foul call against the Raiders, the Browns get 4 new down, trailing 10-3. McDonald steps in with the rush is there. Sprinting in from the right outside linebacker was another Southern California player, Rod Martin.
1980, most valuable player in the Super Bowl. You saw him pick off 3 that day. In the big ball games, Rod Martin gets it done. He comes on his own, little play action. No backs remaining to pick up Rod Martin. Both of them put the play action run to the right side. He's coming from McDonald's left. That's his blind side. Never saw him. 2nd down and 18.
And as you see, the leading quarterback tracking team in the NFL this season, the Raiders, have 3 today in the first half. 7:50 to go in the second quarter. Raiders 10, round 3. 2nd down and 19 for Cleveland. McDonald throws a beautiful ball. It's caught by Ricky Feature.
They're knocking back the line of scrimmage.
Ricky Feature, like a bouncing rubber ball, is hit at the 49 and knocked back to the 43. They stopped the ball down for a gain of 15 yards. It was very nearly a gain of 20. Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WKYC TV3 in Cleveland.
Ricky Feature working hard to get back to where he caught the ball.
Almost working hard to get back where he started.
The Super Bowl tournament round 1 at the Los Angeles Coliseum. Don Quickie with John Brody, the Los Angeles Raiders in black and silver in the lead at 10-3. The Browns on offense, 3rd down and 4. Here's a throw, a reception, and here the ball is dropped. Cleo Miller coming out of the backfield couldn't hold on, so Cleveland has to punt the ball.
Those are drive stoppers. Cleo Miller won't miss that ball 1 out of 10 times. Couldn't have picked a worse time to drop it. They need to get back in the ball game. They're on a good drive. He drops a 3rd down and 4.
Steve Cox is in the game now to punt the ball. Cox has an average of over 53 yards a punt. We're up to 53, 2 earlier. Hitting the ball very well. Back deep is Greg Pruitt, another former Brown who was traded to the Raiders on draft day, as was Lyle Alzado. Again, Cox out of Arkansas, loads. Unbelievable charge into the ball, into the end zone and out. A touchback on a 55-yard punt. And so the Raiders will go on offense after 20 with 6:40 to play in the first half. Los Angeles leading 10-3. We have 6:40 to play in the first half here at the Los Angeles Coliseum. The Los Angeles Raiders with the 8-1 record, best in the American Conference. In the lead 10-3 as Jim Plunkett has hit some big ones and also gotten through to the Cleveland Browns. He's been intercepted twice, dropped the throw now on first down. Marcus Allen with people in front. And Allen from the 20 is out to the 28-yard line. Mike Robinson of the fences end 92 finally got him. Allen's 9 yards downfield. It's 2nd and 2 for the Raiders.
Those plays generally go for 2 yards, 3 yards. Most teams don't even use them except for outlets, unless some sort of defensive deficiency exposes itself. But with Marcus Allen, that's a very dangerous play. People better jump in and handle it. He's already made 3 receptions for 51 yards. That's a small part of the contribution, but when he gets out there, he's tough.
Dave Logan being worked down as the Raiders go to the run on 2nd and 2, and they go to Allen. Got to get to the 30, got very close to it. Marshall Harris was on the stop. Sam Rutigliano, in answer to the critics who said a losing team shouldn't be in, he said, we're only playing under the ground rules they set up. We're glad to be here.
Yeah, he said he hasn't really received any telegrams that said, don't go to Los Angeles. So he said, we thought we'd come out a little early, get accustomed to the sun. He said, we've had a great week of work, and his viewpoint is that with a good day by their specialists, the quarterback, the wide receivers, they can beat this group. Up to now, they haven't had enough time to illustrate that.
Raiders have had the ball most of the time. Those empty seats just on the corner of the end zone are not sold here at the Los Angeles Coliseum. They're always empty. Right now, Plunkett signals the timeout, comes over for some counsel, and we'll break away for this message. Puffin, 2nd seeded in the American Conference in the Super Bowl tournament, will be on the home field again next week. Should they win? Should the Raiders win again today and again next week, they would be on home field right through the American Conference Championship game, and then, of course, just go over the mountains to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena if they won that one. So the January 30th Super Bowl. 3rd down, less than a yard for the Raiders. Marcus Allen gets the needed half yard and a lot more as he's across the 35-yard line, finally knocked down by Marshall Harris.
Boy, you get 2 tight ends. You stick Marcus Allen back there 7 yards in a short yardage situation. It's pretty tough to know which side to really put the most heat on. He gets all of his big linemen up in front of him. They just get any sort of penetration at all. He cuts back, picks up 5 yards, and looks like a piece of cake. A fair summation of yardage in the first half.
That's what the Raiders had, the 122 for Cleveland. As on first down, Plunkett takes a deep drop. Steps in, throws the ball, and Allen can't hold on. Curtis Weathers, 55, was moving up on him. Our producer today for NBC is George Finkel. Our director, John Gonzalez. And we'll watch Marcus Allen in action out of the backfield.
You can watch him, and it appears as if he's doing nothing. This is his play to lope. But you know Plunkett's got him in the back of his mind, and if something gets clogged up, he's coming out to number 32. He did on that occasion. The ball was thrown a little high. 2nd and 10.
Now, I asked Marcus Allen, John, before the game, I said, everybody question your speed and said you played behind a great offensive line. Did you think you were going to have a big year? He said, I was quite confident I was going to have a big year. And the nicest thing about having one, he said, is the respect that I got from a great bunch of football players here at Oakland. That means Los Angeles means a lot more than the honors. Allen gets the pitch back again and runs the ball out to the 40-yard line. The Raiders still practice in the Oakland area. Actually, every game of this season, anyway, is a road game for them. They fly back playing the Coliseum.
Right. You expect that sort of reaction from him when you ask that sort of question. But look at the great running backs. I know they say, hey, you can't carry the ball out in your arms. That's the way you fumble it. The great running backs all held it that way. Looks like everything's in motion. They never tucked the ball in until they were about to get hit. But the uncanny thing is they all seem to know when that is. You look at number 32, he always had the ball out. It looked like he could get it, but nobody ever did.
even when they're coming from behind.
Well, he knew. I think he's got an extra eye.
A little hole in the back of the helmet. Now, the Raiders have a timeout with 3:52 to play in the first half. Let's swing back to Lanning, New York.
Scored again.
Well, we're going to stay here at Los Angeles for the moment. Miami having moved out to a 14-3 lead. Earlier winner today in the National Conference, the Washington Redskins routed Detroit, and Green Bay did the same thing to St. Louis. The Packers winning 41-16 over the Cardinals. The Redskins winning at RFK 31-7.
I guess somebody's going to take that Washington Redskin group for real. 28-0 last week against St. Louis. This week, 31-7. They're having a lot of fun.
At halftime, we'll be going to NFL 82 in New York for a complete recap of this tournament day's opening round. Sam Rutigliano, now in his 5th year as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Coming in, his teams have won 38 and lost 38. 2 years ago, when Brian Sipe was the quarterback of the year in the National Football League Most Valuable Player, Sam Rutigliano was the coach of the year. This year, his counterpart Tom Flores of the Raiders gets it.
I get a feeling you may see Brian Sipe a little later in the day, too.
Well, he worked equally with the first team, they said, during the week. Here's Plunkett standing in and throwing. Good defense. Calvin Muhammad was the antenna receiver. Plunkett throwing just before Mike Robinson. Big pass rusher, 270 pounds out of Arizona, brought him down. So the Raiders come up empty on a 3rd down and long play, and with 3:47 to play in the first half, they'll punt the ball. Ray Guy ready to punt it for the first time. It'll be his 80th postseason punt. That's an NFL record, extending his own record.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know who has 79?
That means you've been in the playoffs a few times.
That's right. I heard an interesting comment. Someone said, you know, I think the best number 1 we've ever had drafted is Marcus Allen. The only disagreement is that Raymond Guy might be the other.
Raymond Guy, probably the only punter ever drafted in the first round. There's been some punter place kickers picked in the first round, but never just a pure punter. A 37-yard punt by Ray Guy, who can double up as a quarterback. He's an excellent all-round athlete. And now the Browns will go on offense, 1st and 10, trailing 10-3. They did hit one big play, a 47-yard gainer when Paul McDonald, going after quarterback Cleveland, threw that long strike to Ricky Feature. Got the Browns down close, and subsequently they got the Matt Barr field goal.
The Raiders take a lot of chances on defense, Don, but today they're just right at the right time, and they really haven't allowed the Browns to sustain any drive.
Dave Logan comes in motion for Cleveland. The pitch back to Charles White. He's across the 20 and out to the 30-yard line. A good look at the former Heisman Trophy winner from ground level.
Charles White made an outstanding move on Ted Hendricks. He's got arms that are so long, a lot of people think they've outrun him. He grabs them and throws them to the turf. This time he gave Hendricks a little more credit, got out around him, picked up 5-6 yards. That's one of the best first down plays the Browns have run.
And so now, on the gainer, the Browns come up to 2nd down. 2nd and 4 from the 34-yard line. So Logan again in motion. The handoff to White was not much there. Matt Millen, who was a load, and now Lyle Alzado combined on the stop.
And Bob Nelson, the 3 of those fellows just all met together. There just is no room inside. I mentioned it earlier, but you figure there has to be a crack somewhere. There just aren't any. At least not yet, because there has been no offensive penetration against the defense for the Raiders. We watched Lyle Alzado. He's been in a great matchup with Doug Deacon. Been having a lot of fun. And I think it was, you mentioned earlier that guys like Alzado and Hendricks are just falling into stride right now. They haven't played so much that they're tired. Certainly playing well.
Right now, Johnny Robinson comes in as the left end, the rest of the passer on 3rd down and 4. Here's a throw and a completion and a first down for Cleveland. In a tough way. Dwight Walker made some big catches for the Browns. That was his 3rd of this day, and it's good for a first down. So Cleveland gets the ball out to their 38-yard line. Up to the 39 where they spot it down.
Takes a lot of talent to wait. This is one of those combination patterns. McDonald's trying to bide a little time. Walker comes off. Mike Davis can't believe that the ball is completed. A perfectly thrown ball in the very difficult circumstances. Now on first down, the pitch back goes to Charles White, way in the backfield of the Raiders. A
the penalty marker is thrown towards the line of scrimmage. Johnny Robinson runs down the ball carrier. Charles White with 2 minutes and 9 seconds to play. Personal foul against the Raiders. Their second of this game. So the Browns get some yards stepped off. Beneficiaries another personal foul call against Los Angeles.
I think personally that right now Cleveland is fortunate to be in this game. It's 10-3, but they've now come into the Raider territory, and they are very much in the game with 2 minutes left.
And now to NFL 82 in New York.
Personal foul.
So the number one defense in the NFL, that of the Miami Dolphins, stopped the New England Patriots, and here at Los Angeles, we have the Cleveland Browns going 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line. A home run ball. The man is out there. It is caught for a touchdown for the Browns. Ricky Feature on the fly pattern beats his man Ted Watt, and the Browns now have a chance to tie it up with 2:02 to play in the first half. 43 yards and a touchdown. Feature caught the 47-yard ball against Lester Hayes, you remember earlier, and that led to the Cleveland field goal. Tied the game, and now the touchdown reception.
Well, Sam knew. He says, hey, we've got to get some big plays. We've got to get some of our real good outside receivers on number 20, Ted Watts, because you don't make a living trying Lester Hayes on the other side. Ricky Feature that time got in a one-on-one situation. McDonald has thrown the ball brilliantly in the last drive. That was a perfectly thrown ball. It's the third reception for Feature, 105 yards, and the game is tied
with Matt Bauer's extra point. So the Browns strike on the big play into the end zone goes Ricky Feature. And all of a sudden, the favored Raiders are in a tie 10-10 here at the Coliseum with 2:02 to play. So McDonald, as the game is worn on, has gotten some time to throw, and when he has, he's been there with the ball. NFL 82, Len Berman, Mike Adamle in New York to update this first round of the Super Bowl tournament and a special surprise at halftime.
Don, you know, we talk about penalties and it's the Raiders' tradition and it's kind of their personality, but today they've hurt them, and they've hurt them pretty badly. We talk about them loving adversity. They've had some right now because they're doing about what they want offensively. They've only got 10 points on the board. Cleveland has done nothing, really, except for a few isolated plays. They've got 10 points on the board. The ball game is tied. It's pretty tough for one team to dominate the other for a full 60 minutes, so I think the Raiders are in for a very tough second half.
Well, it's been a good one so far. Cleveland getting it when they needed it. It's been real tough down in the trenches. Look at the line play. Lyle Alzado going against Matt Miller. They're coming in when Deacon is trouble with a fractured hand. Alzado is about as strong as there is. Bench presses, which seem to be a barometer of how strong you are. I guess it's a good one, over 500 pounds.
It is, but Matt Miller stayed in front of him for whatever. However, and that enabled McDonald to get the ball going.
Cox picks it off. This time Pruitt takes it back from the 3. Finds the 10 and gets Pruitt is in open field and out to the 43-yard line. So this time the ex-Browns from Oklahoma sprints out for a 41-yard return with 1:50 to go, and the Raiders with that long ball offense with plenty of time to break the tie when we come back to the Coliseum, where the Browns have tied the heavily favored Raiders 10-10 in the second quarter. The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. The LA Raiderettes, billed as the fabulous females of football. Okay. Steve Danz, our NBC statistician, points out that so far in the game, the Raiders have 293 yards total offense, the Browns 180. But the bottom line is a 10-10 tie here at the Coliseum. Now the Raiders go on offense with a 1st and 10 play after the kickoff return, and here goes Mr. Plunkett. Was a good runner at one time, doesn't like to anymore. 9 trips to the hospital for operations to take that out of him.
He's a good runner, and he's very effective in whatever he does, but he is a bit awkward. He can't even fall right. I mean, that time he tried to get down on the ground, and I thought he might hurt himself. I'm a big Jim Plunkett fan, but he doesn't like to fall. He looks awkward. He's like tackling a flat rock, but I'd hate to have to try and keep him out of the end zone.
Right now, he dumps it off, and Marcus Allen heads upfield, and Marcus Allen on a 1st and 10 play from the Brown 47 gets down inside the 40, down to the 38-yard line. 1:07 to play and the clock running.
And the Raiders only have one timeout left, Don, so he'll try and get the ball in action pretty quick.
Be aware that Allen can throw the ball, so they pitch back to him. Here's a throw to Malcolm Barnwell that's way too high, but it does stop the clock with 56 seconds to play. Jim Plunkett, as you know, John, has known highs and lows like very few in any career have. From the 70 year when he won the Heisman Trophy at Stanford, Maxwell Award. That is the man they're trying to get in position right now. Chris Barr, the field goal kicker, and then Plunkett, of course, the #1 draft choice. Rookie of the year in the NFL. Then 73, he was sacked 59 times.
Yeah, that'll take some of that sap out of you, but I'll take him right now. He's in a hot streak, and when he's hot, he plays extremely well.
At the Los Angeles Coliseum, this is Don Quickie with John Brody. The Cleveland Browns have just struck on a 43-yard scoring pass from Paul McDonald to Ricky Feature. Jim Plunkett, number 16, the LA Raiders quarterback, has been intercepted twice in the first half. When he hasn't been intercepted, he's moved this offense. The Raiders with almost 300 yards total offense. The Browns able to come back and tie the game with just 55 seconds to play in the first half.
Don, something's going on goofy here. I mean, they throw the ball out of bounds to stop the clock. They've got third down and a yard and a half to go. They get back in the huddle, and all of a sudden they call a timeout. Now they don't have any left, and they've got quite a long way. They're certainly not field goal range, so they're going to have to organize something that, if it is effective, it stops the clock, or they get up on the ball. They're going to have to call a couple of plays. I don't know what the mix-up was, but had it not been there, they'd still have plenty of time. Now they've got to do some preparing, and they better and also be effective. So the last time this sort of situation came up, it was when they were playing Kansas City. All they need is a field goal. Plunkett throws one in the end zone for a touchdown. So if you're going to try and predict what Jim Plunkett's going to do, you're going to go broke.
That's good, too, though. Touchdown.
Yeah, they help.
Plunkett so far has put it up 18 times, completed 12 for 226 yards. He's been intercepted twice. Marcus Allen scored the only Raider touchdown in a short run. Plunkett on third down and 2. Steps in, looks long, throws over the middle. He's got his tight end, Todd Christensen, and he's down to the Cleveland 27-yard line for a first down.
45 seconds left, no timeouts.
Dick Ambrose, an inside linebacker, knocked him down. The time ticking away in the second quarter. Los Angeles with a dominant number in the total offense, but the scoreboard tied at 10. As Plunkett fires again, and the play is made on the ball, a near interception. As he tries to go to Branch, Ambrose dove at the ball. That stops the clock, the incomplete pass with 30 seconds to play.
All right, when you're throwing the ball in the center of the field, it's very tough on wide receivers. Branch all the way, comes underneath Chip Banks. Just about the time he knows it's going to be a collision course. Dick Ambrose is the bigger man. He gives them a little room, and they come back to the huddle.
Rick Barr, 1 for 2 on field goals. His brother, the kicker for the Cleveland Browns, across the way. They both have hit a field goal as we have a 10-10 game with 30 seconds to play now in the first half. As Plunkett stands in, loops one out. As Grant takes it down to the 20, and Browns hit him, and Clay Matthews with the tackle, and that keeps the clock running at 19 seconds and moving as the Raiders line up quickly.
They've got a play called probably to try and get it in the end zone. If not, throw it out of the stadium.
Well, he didn't throw it out of the stadium. He did get it pretty close to row A. That will stop the clock with 9 seconds left. Maybe he wants to talk him into trying another one.
They better kick a field goal, because anything that's held in the field of play complete, it's not in the end zone, and it's fourth down, they're going to.
A dramatic contrast in the weather from the last time these two teams met in playoff competition, January 4th, 1981. Lake Erie, a bedrock device, and the wind swept into Cleveland Stadium when Mike Davis made the diving interception, and Tom Flores and his Raiders went route for the Super Bowl championship. That year, the Raiders were the wild card team. This one, in the year of the Super Bowl tournament, they're the top seed. Right now, they're looking to break a 10-10 tie as Cleveland calls timeout as Chris Barr starts to set up with 9 seconds to play, looking for the final field goal. Tigliano and his Browns came out here on Tuesday. They've worked in Southern California at the Los Angeles Rams training complex. Although the weather's been pretty good in the east. Not like this, though.
Well, this has been beyond the call, but it's excellent weather and 2 fine teams.
9 seconds to play. Chris Barr flips over. And the Raiders with the ball started at the 20. The usual hold. You know that, John, after holding for a lot of times and a lot of years, to be a 37-yard field goal. Most everybody goes from 7 yards deep, don't they?
They do, and generally, you know, you hear so many people question, why don't you put it back 9 yards so you get a little more room from the front of the line to kick the ball. But what happens when you do that, it's the extra 2 yards that you take to grab the ball and place it down that gives those end people a chance to get right in front of your kick. There's been a lot of research, and the best place is between 7 yards and 7 yards and a foot, 7 yards maybe 18 inches, and that is the one space that's the most difficult to get to and block the kick.
The hold will be almost 38. Good kick. This Barr hits it up and through, and so with 6 seconds to play in the first half, the Raiders again break a tie. This game has been tied 3-3, 10-10, and now the Raiders extend the lead to 13-10. A 3-point advantage with 6 seconds to play the field goal from 37 yards out. Chris Barr there, an interesting journey, cut by the Cincinnati Bengals. He showed up at Oakland just in time for Super Bowl year. He got the ring.
Both Barrs are very consistent kickers.
Today, Matt hit his longest, a 52-yarder, in his only attempt. Before the game, I was talking to 2 Barrs down the field. Matt kept going and Chris talking about the pressure being on the Raiders. You're the favorite. We're at ease, he said.
Yeah.
We're not expected to win.
Yeah, they try to put the heat on one another. There's enough heat from outside the family. They both seem to handle it pretty well.
They do. They had the whole program together, both out of Penn State. And now, the Raiders will kick it off. Chris Barr cleaning up the ball at the 35-yard line. These two teams, they actually the last time they met was in the final preseason game in August here at the Coliseum, and the Browns won handily that night, 27-10. Gets downfield, and Dino Hall keeps down working, gets across the 30, and the first half comes to an end. NFL 82 coming up for special surprise. The Browns have to be pleased with the way they played and hit on the long ball. They're very much in the game with ability to. Los Angeles, California, we're at halftime. The Raiders holding to a 3-point lead over the Cleveland Browns as we're just about set for the start of the second half. Both teams coming back out of the playing field. Don Fricky with John Brody here in Los Angeles. In the first half, the Raiders just about doubled the total offense of the Cleveland Browns, John, but Cleveland staying close. They could be right in this till the end.
They've stayed close when they've been totally dominated, and the line of scrimmage has been all Raiders, both offensively and defensively. But when that happens, how many times does almost stay on the same side? We're playing at the L.A. Coliseum. This is not actually where the Raiders have made all their glory, but they have played exceptionally well. I just think it's going to be very tough for them to sustain 60 minutes of control.
Well, your old friend Jim Plunkett, another Stanford quarterback, has had big moments in the first half, and of course the 2 interceptions. But somehow this season he seems to have found a way to get his team back in games they've so often come from behind. As we break down the halftime numbers, and you see the dominance of the Los Angeles Raiders.
That 25 yards rushing, I think, is an indication of who's winning in the line of scrimmage battle. And if it remains that way, the score will be an Oakland one-sided, or Los Angeles Raider one-sided victory. But I don't get the feeling any game stays that way throughout 60 minutes of play. So if number 16 for the Browns has a couple of good matchups, if he can get Ricky featured 1-2 times in the second half, Ozzie Newsome, who is their leading receiver, gets open a few times, I think you're going to see a real close football game going right down to the wire. And a man who's been in a lot of them, Sam Rutigliano, his team is 4-5, but he feels it's a young team. It's starting to play well now for the first time all year, and he really gives them. He's looking at this whole playoff tournament as if they've got a chance, and it's not for me to say they don't.
Well, they're in it, so they do have a chance. Chris Barr ready to kick it off now for the Raiders. Dino Hall is back deep for the Cleveland Browns. Mark defensive is back with him. Here's Barr with the football. Hits it hard. It'll carry down to the goal line, and Dino Hall brings it back to the 10, 15, 20, 30. Down the channel along the near sideline, and Dino Hall gets it out for a big return of 33 yards. Now Paul McDonald and the Cleveland offense comes out. Mike Pruitt and Charles White, the running backs. The Browns have not gotten much running yardage.
Logan and Feature, who had a great first half. Ricky Feature, the wideouts. Ozzie Newsome caught one big pass. Pass blocking for the most part has been good. Matt Miller's been in for Doug Deacon, who's playing with an injured hand at left tackle. Robert Jackson, Mike Babb, Joe DeLamielleure, and Cody Risen. So from the 32-yard line, Cleveland goes on offense first and 10. Charles White weaves his way ahead, gets across the 35-yard line. Gain is close to 4 yards on the play. Defensively, Howard Long, Reggie Kinlaw, and Lyle Alzado. Alzado says Kinlaw's the best nose tackle he's ever seen. Linebackers, consensus, Pro Bowler all the time. Hendricks, Matt Millen, and Bob Nelson, the inside backers. Rod Martin came up with a big sack from the outside linebacker position. The corners, Hayes and Watts, are two of the best, but they've been beaten by Feature. Each has in the first half. Davis and Burgess Owens, the safeties for the Raiders. Second down for McDonald in the ground. A throw to Charles White who gets out to the 40. He'll be well short of the first down, brings up third down about 3. Miami in the third quarter continues to lead the Patriots 14-6 now. John Smith just kicked a 42-yard field goal for New England.
And as Charles White walks back to the huddle, number 77, Lyle Alzado and Matt Miller at this time, Deacon could not continue. They're having it doesn't matter who Alzado plays against, they seem to get after it pretty well. I'm sure in the locker room, the Browns knew they were beaten at the line of scrimmage. They had some discussion about that fact. They're trying to move people around right now. Third down and 2, this is a big time to test them.
They go to the pitch back to Mike Pruitt. And the Browns off the head, and they get out to the 45-yard line, so it's a first down for Cleveland on the Mike Pruitt carry.
Twice in the first half they had third down and 2. They forgot to pick up those 2 extra yards. They've moved people around about as well as they have all day. Not really backwards, but they've given their backs a chance to go through the cracks that were created. First and 10 on the 45-yard line. The Browns are 3 points down and trying to get back in it.
Ricky Feature is out to the left. At the top of your screen, up that far on the flank as Logan goes in motion and brings Lester Hayes with him. Raiders drop their way back now as McDonald fires. He has a man open. It's Ricky Feature. He's down to the 36-yard line. He was hit and driven back from there. But Feature with another reception on Ted Watt this time. Ricky Feature brings the Browns to another first down.
Again, a play-action pass, Don. They have picked up a first down on 3 running plays. They get a little respect from the linebackers who are standing underneath. That's Bob Nelson, 51, who was suckered just a little bit by the play-action pass, allowing McDonald to go over the top. First and 10 on the 36-yard line.
Ricky Feature having a career day here for Cleveland. You see the average catch, 31 yards on his 4 receptions. McDonald wants some more. Here's a hard-thrown ball and a strike to Charles White. Down to the 25-yard line. He has another Brown first down. So Paul McDonald, as he did as a collision of Southern California, moves his team with authority with the left arm.
And not just because he throws with the left arm does he remind one of Kenny Stabler, but because of his delivery. He doesn't have a long one. It takes him very little time once he's decided to throw it to a certain receiver to get the ball on its way. And that time, White was an outlet. He wanted to go over the middle, wasn't open, hit White on dead stride in the second part.
Browns moving from the 25. Again, Logan brings Lester Hayes to the other side in motion. Here's a pitch back in the left. Runs hard with a cutback run. He's to the 19-yard line. And Cleveland moving well. It's first possession here in the third quarter. Browns with their most impressive offense. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited.
We're going to take a shot of Howie Long, the man who Lyle Alzado said there's no telling how good he could be. They've run the ball on him 3 times in this drive. He's an excellent player, but he's the one that's being moved around at the moment.
McDonald throwing again and outside him and just over the outstretched fingers of Ozzie Newsome. Mike Davis defending, so Paul McDonald, after hitting his first 3 passes of the third quarter, is now 3 for 4 for 30 yards.
It gets tough when they've run the ball for a few first downs. Number 75, Howie Long, second-year man out of Villanova. We see him with Cody Risen. trying to get to the passer, but Cody's doing a little better job. When you can run at the defensive end, you can also pass block them, and it's just getting a little bit tougher.
Howie Long, a second-round draft choice out of Villanova. They retired his number. In fact, they retired everybody. They dropped football. Long says, don't tell him that, though. Dave Logan has got a pass yet today. For Cleveland, right now the Browns are 3rd down and 4. Alzado might have left early. We'll see if he was drawn offside. The penalty markers go down. Mike threw it Terry, but not very far.
If he did, if it was on Alzado and he wasn't drawn offside, it was an excellent play by Paul McDonald because he took a little bit longer to get the ball off. That's just like a turnover. The good quarterbacks create things that go unnoticed to keep their drives alive. That's what Paul McDonald's done since early in the second quarter. He's played outstanding football. Amazing to me for a guy playing in his first playoff game.
Offside. 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 77 defense. First down.
Wild saying to himself, get it out and over with, will you, Ref? Prolong it. So on the penalty against Alzado and the Raiders, there's a mark-off good for Cleveland first down. Browns down to the Raiders 14-yard line. Now, McDonald sees something he didn't like in the Raider defense. There's a lot not to like about that if you're an opposing quarterback. There's a timeout on the field. We'll be back. Sam Rutigliano watching his Browns on a sustained drive to open the third quarter. 11-11 left to play as the Browns have driven down to the Raiders' 14-yard line, 1st and 10.
You know, we noticed that Paul McDonald's 10 for 19, almost 200 yards, and he's throwing a very low percentage type pass, trying to get to his wide receivers downfield, trying to get the big plays.
He hit some big ones, particularly the feature was having 31 yards of catch on 4 receptions. And off, and Charles White runs right into Alzado. Charles at 185, not going to win that matchup.
I think there's a fumble.
There is a fumble. And the Raiders apparently have the ball. The Los Angeles Raiders get the ball. Jeff Barnes is credited with it. And the Coliseum comes alive as Los Angeles comes up with a big defensive play.
Okay, good play by Kinlaw. He steps up the middle. It allows his linebackers, and in this case, Lyle Alzado, to penetrate into the hole. He hits Charles White where he doesn't like to be hit, right on the ball. It goes to the Raiders, and they've got a big turnover.
Thank you, Mike. We have 11:05 to play in the third quarter here at the Los Angeles Coliseum. Alzado on the left, 77, just forced to fumble on a hard hit of Charles White. Jeff Barnes, a 250-pound linebacker, fell on the loose ball, and the Raiders stopped the Cleveland drive. Now, Los Angeles goes to the run on the slant. Marcus Allen carries not very far. The Los Angeles Raiders in offense with Jim Plunkett at quarterback. Denny King and Marcus Allen, his runners. Cliff Branch and Malcolm Barnwell, 2 sprinters at the wide receiver positions, and Todd Christensen, the tight end. Bruce Davis, Kurt Marsh, Dave Dalby, Mickey Marvin, and Henry Lawrence, the offensive blocking line for Plunkett. He's been sacked once in the game. Raiders had 3 first-half sacks of Paul McDonald. 2nd and 8, it's to Marcus Allen. A skip move and a slide up the middle, and Allen's out across the 15, out close to the 18-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and short yardage.
2nd and 7, most people don't even call draws, particularly down here. It looks like a safe play that you get back to the line of scrimmage with. Look at the movement that this guy makes in close quarters. He gets by tacklers that can barely touch him. And there isn't 4 or 5 feet to maneuver in. Picks up a nifty little 5 yards. Now it's 3rd and 2.
Marcus, number 32, the leading rusher in the game with 51 yards and 12 carries and the touchdown. The only touchdown of the game for the Raiders. They also had 2 Chris Barr field goals to take a 13-10 halftime lead. Kenny King turns the corner and gets out to the 25-yard line, and he has a first down for Los Angeles. Now, while we have a moment, let's go back to NFL 82 in New York.
Thank you, Don Quick.
Between drinks for those Patriots down in Miami. But Buffalo had a bad run down there. Thank you, Mike. As the Dolphins extend their lead, home field and the form chart holding up so far. Well, this is a close one, the closest of the day of the 4 opening games. The Raiders leading 13-10 with a first down. Marcus Allen, a great change of pace move. He's a combination power runner and cutback runner. Clarence Scott, a strong free safety, finally knocked him down.
And Frank Hawkins was the lead blocker this time, number 27. Watch him leading Marcus Allen. Now, this is the kind of block that sets your back up to do about anything he wants. He keeps the pursuit from picking him up at the hole and not touching him until he gets about 7 or 8 yards. He also hit, when he made that block, Don, he's got a very good defensive back in Clinton Burrell standing over there hurting.
Clinton Burrell, the strong safety. Clarence Scott was the strong safety. They moved him over to free this year. So Burrell goes to the sideline.
I can remember Clarence Scott as a first-round draft choice. We got to play against him his first play. He was a cornerback, so he's been all over the place.
You remember the L.A. Coliseum. How many times you played here? 35. Here's Plunkett throwing the ball. It's caught. Frank Hawkins comes out of the backfield. A second-year player from Nevada at Reno. And the Raiders have another first down. On the tackle was number 20, Judson Flint. Marshall Harris, Bob Golick, and Mike Robinson. The defensive front three, Chip Banks. Rookie of the Year, Tom Cousineau, Dick Ambrose, and Clay Matthews. Back in the starting lineup after an ankle injury. Bolton and Dixon at the corners. Burrell and Scott are the safeties. Ball's advanced to the Los Angeles 40-yard line. Plunkett, deep dropping all day. Arch one out. He's got a man. Marcus Allen comes out of the backfield. Ron Bolton hit him. The play they talk about the Raider players that was just hard to believe when they look back at it on film against Atlanta. Allen picked up a blitz, knocked the linebacker who was coming. There's Clinton Burrell who was shaken up, being attended to. Knocked the Atlanta linebacker flat on his back with his block. Then swung out of the backfield, caught a pass from Plunkett and went 17 yards through 3 tackles for a touchdown. I thought they had Superman wearing 32.
Well, they might. They've got about as close to it as we've seen. You get the feeling he stands in the huddle, and after the play is called, he says, Jim, if you get in trouble, I'll be on the right side. I'll be on the left side. They could probably go up and down the field that way.
Plunkett always knows where he is, and he always goes to him. And here's Allen carrying from scrimmage. On a second and short yardage play, he did get across midfield where he had to go for another Raider first down. Chip Banks, Marcus Allen's roommate at Southern California, number 56. A real force from the left outside linebacker position at 6'4", 235.
You know, when you see a running back having the kind of a day that Marcus Allen's having, you generally see a linebacker who's being pushed off the line of scrimmage, as Kurt Marsh does here to Tom Cousineau. Cousineau has not been in many plays. They expect their inside linebackers to be in a few more than he has been able to stop today, and that's why Allen's total yardage is 132 right now.
Running and catching the ball, you see, with 63 yards rushing. First down and 10, Los Angeles, just across midfield. Raiders lead 13-10. Christensen swings across. That's a great Raider play over the years. Used to be Dave Casper who'd come that way.
John Cousineau was in a blitz situation, was not touched. He came free. He had a little game that was being played with his defensive lineman. Take a look. He goes around, gets the bucket. He says, oh, baby, for the first time today. But good quarterbacks know when the blitz is on. He got to his receiver, Christensen, real quick. Even when they come free, you can't get a good quarterback if he's alert.
And they didn't get him, and Plunkett did get Christensen with the throw, and it's close enough to measure. Christensen out of the tight end positions caught 4 now for 53 yards. A few inches short of the first down with 7:09 to play in the third quarter. So the Raiders have second and short coming up. Right now we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
You're watching WKYC TV3 in Cleveland.
Super Bowl tournament round 1. The Los Angeles Raiders, best team in the American Conference in the regular season with an 8-1 record, and a decided favorite coming in, leading by just 3 points, 13-10. They just stopped Cleveland on a fumble recovery up the Browns drove downfield. Now Jim Plunkett going along to Christensen, who catches the ball at the 10, and is flattered it down at the 8-yard line. But the Raiders now with the big gainer are ready to challenge for the end zone again.
That was such a beyond the call of duty catch. It was made possible by a real good look-off from Jim Plunkett. When he went back to throw, you take a look. He'll look to the left side. See this? He knows he's going down to Christensen, but he's taking care of the safety. They couldn't get the play. He had to throw it just perfectly. It was good coverage. Bolton could not get to the ball in time. And this Todd is up and about, but not too gingerly.
Todd Christensen with a 31-yard gainer. So the Raiders driving the ball on their first possession. Plunkett now has thrown 28 times. He's completed 17 for 299 yards. With 6 minutes left to be played in the third quarter. The Los Angeles Raiders have the ball. Marcus Allen drives inside the 10-yard line and down inside the 5. This is Don Criqui with John Brody. As the Cleveland Browns open the third quarter with a long drive, but then Charles White was struck hard by Lyle Alzado, fumbled the ball, and the Raiders started the other way. And now after a long pass play, a 31-yarder to tight end Todd Christensen, and a run by Marcus Allen, you just saw the Raiders have the ball inside the Cleveland 5-yard line. Second down and goal from there. Raiders are decided favorites coming in, holding to a 3-point lead, 13-10. 5 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the third quarter. The eye back. Greg Pruitt also in the backfield, and he takes the ball down close to the 3-yard line. Former Cleveland Brown Greg Pruitt.
John, we've seen them push the Cleveland defense all over the field for the best part of 3 quarters. Now that we've got 5 minutes left in the third quarter, but they still only have a 3-point lead. They have moved the ball off the length of the field on this trip. This is a very important 3rd down and 3 for a touchdown. I think if they come away with 3 points here, it is going to hurt them. I've been saying that all game long. They've been dominating the game and not the scoreboard. I think they're going to score a touchdown here if they want to stay out in front.
The Raiders coming off the big win last week at San Diego have got it in. Now Marcus Allen goes in for his second touchdown of the game. On this field primarily was the track that Marcus Allen used to rush for an NCAA record of over 2,300 yards last season as a Southern California senior, now as a rookie in the NFL. The Pro Bowl, Rookie of the Year, and first-team All-Pro honors are his, as Allen scores his second touchdown of the day, his 16th of the season.
Just another day at the plant for number 32. He goes right behind Henry Lawrence and Mickey Marvin and Todd Christensen. Just outstanding offensive line blocking. 65 is Marvin, 46 is Christensen. They push the defense on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Makes it easy for the back.
This Barr hits the point after, and with 4:30 left to play in the third quarter, the Raiders capitalize on the fumble recovery at their end of the field after Cleveland looked like they were going in to go ahead. Now Marcus Allen takes it in at the other end, and the Raiders open up a 19-12 lead. It's 20-12 with the extra point, 20-10. The Raiders drive 89 yards after the fumble recovery by Jeff Barnes. Marcus Allen again on the payoff end for his second touchdown of the day. And again, the favorite takes command, 20-10 here in the third quarter. Dino Hall feels the kickoff from the 7. That's big, but he works his way out to the 26-yard line where former Brown Clee Montgomery knocks him down. And so the Browns go back on offense. Marcus Allen having another big day. Every day is a big day for Marcus. First and 10 play, and the Browns go quickly. Getting the ball to Ozzie Newsome for a 13-yard gain. Here is Clinton Burrell, who sustained what might be a separated shoulder. It's unlikely he'll be back today. The strong safety for the Browns.
They stayed at dislocation, and that can't be good, Donnie.
Usually don't come back the same day with one of those. Clinton Burrell, a hard hitter out of LSU. And now the Browns go to the run. Their fullback, Mike Pruitt, carries the ball on first down to the 42-yard line. 3:33 left to play in the third quarter. Those of you who are watching Miami will go back to that game now. It continues right here at the Los Angeles Coliseum. Who that is, but looks like the Raiders got after him.
I don't know.
Some unusual one.
Well, we get them all down here,
Lotus Land. Here is a handoff to Pruitt. Second down and 7. He gets out to the 45-yard line. Lyle Alzado knocked him down. Alzado with a big defensive play earlier. There's Brian Seitzon.
And I got to think something has to do with him being on the bench. You take a look at the line of scrimmage. If he's got to say, let me play with Jim Plunkett's spot just for a couple of weeks, because they're ruling the line of scrimmage. He's got Marcus Allen Anything he calls looks good, okay? It's easy to be brilliant that way. Brian Seif has been the core of the Cleveland Brown offense for several years. He finally gets in a streak where he's not throwing it quite as well, and he's sitting on the bench. Let's see what Paul McDonald can do. He gets 10 points down, and he's 3rd and 4.
He looks and throws. He's got through it for a first down and 20 more. As Mike Pruitt coming out of that field gets inside the Raiders' 45-yard line. There is a penalty marker down in the Cleveland backfield. Alzado thinks he was held. Here's the referee, Bob McElwee. That's the first Cleveland penalty. Had a good game from that standpoint. Trailing 20-10 in the third quarter.
Holding number 71, offense, 3rd down.
Alzado was right.
Miller was called for it.
Well, you know, there are plus points to playing the way Alzado does, because he's always talking to the official, and if you get the official's attention and the man is holding you, it can be beneficial. That was a perfect illustration.
Now the Browns go 3rd down and 15. There's a swing out of the backfield. Pruitt heading upfield, and a good open field tackle made. Rod Martin the first to hit him. And virtually everybody in the Raider defense gets a piece.
All right, this is a perfect illustration. Number 82, Ozzie Newsome, is their big play guy, right? But they can't get a pass off 15 yards down the field unless they keep their tight end in. So what do? Number 82's in there blocking, folks. There he is. He's not out in the passing lane. That is a real restriction for a quarterback, and they still almost sacked him. 75, Howie Long made a real good force. Rod Martin gets a piece, and the rest of the secondary picks him up.
Denny Hill, number 48, an extra defensive back out of Yale, was also on the stop. And now Cox punts. Had to hurry it. Gets it downfield. Greg Pruitt takes it. Momentum takes it off the sideline for a 40-yard punt. No return with just 1:27 to play in the third quarter. The Raiders, who drove 89 yards for a touchdown their last possession, take over 1st and 10.
Only Chrysler helps new car buyers with low financing and 550 protection. Today, only Chrysler has 11.9 financing on every new 82 and 83 car, every truck, every import, and 5-year, 50,000 miles.
80 degrees and sunny in Southern California. 56,000 at the Los Angeles Coliseum, where the Raiders on the home field, leading 20-10.
Who took that shot? No-shows, a little over
6,000. More than 600 no-shows for Cleveland. Plunkett steps in to throw and brings it out. Christensen again. He drops in under that deep coverage and stands alone. Curtis Weathers, 55, knocked him down, but the Raiders get more to their tight end. More AFC playoff action coming up tomorrow here on NBC. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the Steelers on the home field go against the high-scoring offense of the San Diego Chargers. Charlie Jones and Len Dawson at Cincinnati, where the Bengals are ready to meet up with the New York Jets.
I think they're not tough. They go to the Super Bowl, and I think they've improved.
Bengals.
I think they've improved as a team.
83 points in the last 3 weeks. Could be high scoring at Cincinnati. Swing pass goes out to Marcus Allen. Ron Bolton hits him as the ball comes in. But on second and short yardage, the Raiders are again ahead for a first down.
Well, it was discussed earlier, and Marty Schottenheimer, the defensive coordinator for the Browns, said simply, we hope we can get Plunkett in a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7 situation where he's got to throw. We know he's got to throw, and we can do the things with Marcus Allen we know we can cover. But they haven't been able to do that. He's thrown it on first down. He's completed almost everything he's thrown. Or when he has thrown the outlet patterns to Marcus Allen, he's picked up 7 or 8 yards. Or when they run the ball on first down, he picks up 7 or 8 yards. So it's just been a lot of fun with number 32 and number 16. He's 20 for 30 right now for 314 after 3 quarters.
And the third quarter comes to an end with the Raiders in command, 20-10. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet. So far today, the Raiders have been doing it best. They're leading 20-10, but we've got a long way to go as we open the fourth quarter. Raiders leading 20-10 with a first down play, in Plunkett looking for it all. He goes to Malcolm Barnwell. He Ron Bolton right with him. Bolton had some problems with Lynn Swan last Sunday at Pittsburgh, but he's done well today.
You want to know why Plunkett's having his best day in a playoff game, 314 yards, the first time he's ever thrown for more than 300 yards in a game. Take a look at Bob Golick. He's trying to get to Plunkett. Number 50, Dave Dalby, who won his starting job back, has had an excellent year in 82. Mickey Marvin finally spins Golick around. He didn't get 2 steps past the line of scrimmage. Sure is fun to operate if you're a quarterback under those conditions.
They have been taking good care of Plunkett, having time to throw the long ball. To throw a lot of balls.
Throw the short ball, or any kind of ball you like. He could have a ball.
Gets right into the hat. Takes his hit. Here is Plunkett gunning it down. Cliff Branch wisely looking at the defense coming in. Clarence Scott came up. And now we have a moment back to NFL 82 in New York.
Thank you, John Cricky. In the humidity of Miami, the New England...
The chalk, as they say in the vernacular, holding up here on opening day. The favorites all with big leads. The closest game is right here.
That's right. You can sit there. You take the best team. You say, okay, fellas, you get to play at home, and you other guys are going to have to show us you're up to that level. Nobody's been able to do it today.
Washington and Green Bay winning in the National Conference earlier. Los Angeles Raiders and Miami Dolphins leading and on the home field in the AFC opening game. Here is a pass to Malcolm Bonnewell. He's off. Quentin Burrell came back in the game and made a saving tackle at the 40-yard line. Gain of 24 yards on the play. One thing interesting, John, about these Raiders, virtually everybody that handles the ball as a backer or as wide receiver has been a track man someplace at one time.
Yep. It's their 21st first down, but you take a look at Barnwell. Now, he just leaves 4 Browns in a position where they can't do a thing. They just get caught up with one another. Great acceleration once he catches the ball. You find a guy that can catch the ball in the middle and has that kind of speed, you've got to find.
All the Raider wideouts are about the same size, 5'11", 185. All can burn. Hard throw and a strike to Cliff Branch. Good move, and he's down inside the 25-yard line. First down, Los Angeles.
You take a look at a small thing. The block by Frank Hawkins in the middle of the third quarter that put Quentin Burrell out of the ball game with a dislocation, all right? They've been hurting a little bit at cornerback anyway, okay, all year long. Now they're forced into playing defenses that are standard. When they do that, Plunkett just takes his pick out wide. When they lay off 7 and 8 yards of the wide receivers, there's no reason for a quarterback of his caliber with the receivers he has to do anything else but throw the ball out to the sides. He's doing it, and they're just marching up and down the field. Great play by Hawkins early.
And that cordon of blockers sealing off the Cleveland rush. Plunkett was sacked once in the first half. They haven't been near him since. Here's a throw to the end zone, and it's slipped away at the last moment. Big play by Judson Flint, a second-year player out of Memphis State. Branch was open, but Flint made the play, and this is the 3rd time that Cleveland's done that.
Branch was open, but very, very shortly. I mean, he wasn't open for a very long period of time, and sometimes you think when you throw the ball to the outside that, hey, maybe the middle's open now, but you can see from that crowd it really wasn't that open. The sides are still wide open.
Judson Flint, an extra defensive back in the Cleveland lineup. Over the years, the Browns and the Raiders have played 8 times. The Raiders have won 7. Second and 10. Greg Pruitt runs for Los Angeles and comes inside the 20 and down close to the 15-yard line. Chip Banks got him. They stay between the sidelines. Banks usually will.
Yeah, he will, but he had to come from the left side to force that play out of bounds on the right. Remember, that's Greg Pruitt's first carry of the afternoon, Donnie, and he's been a great one for years, so many years with the Browns. Alzado and Pruitt come out to the Raiders, and the Raiders look like they might be the #1 team in football. It's got to be a real pleasure trip for those two.
Pruitt's got to be the biggest 5'9", 195 that ever lived. He looks like Superman. He doesn't need pads. 3rd and short yardage to the run, and Frank Hawkins carries. He's got the first down and heads all the way down to the 5-yard line. So the Raider dominance now very much illustrated by the forward blocking and then the run by Hawkins. Big hole and big run for 10 yards. Raider first down, first and goal.
Well, you can't stop it all. Now, here's the second-year player out of Nevada, Reno. It gets a good hole. He's created some for Marcus Allen throughout the afternoon. The three backs, Kenny King, Frank Hawkins, and Marcus Allen, are just taking their pick. It's kind of hard. They don't have enough balls in the huddle when things are going this way for your offense. So Plunkett can call any play he wants.
Frank Hawkins, first carry for Frank, and good for 10 yards. And the Raiders leading 20-10 with 12:50 to go. Threatening once more. Right back to the money. Marcus Allen goes over the top and down to the 1-yard line. Don Cousineau stopped him just short of the goal line. Allen was the first back in Scale Sayers in 1965 to lead the NFL in scoring in a season, and place kickers ever since. At 14 regular season touchdowns, 2 today, and almost a third here.
Look at that. They're being met 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. You talk about who's doing it. Take a look at number 46. We've seen him make a couple of outstanding receptions. Here, he takes on Chip Banks, who's the Rookie of the Year in the AFC. Gets him out of the play, and they're down to the 1.
Should be Marcus Allen again. Second and goal. Hawkins gets the call. Marcus Allen blocks. He can do that too. And Hawkins goes in for a Raider touchdown. So the Los Angeles Raiders, in what was a tight game, 13-10, they led at halftime, break it open here in the second half and extend their lead to 26-10. The Raiders rolling now as Hawkins goes in for the score.
Another all-purpose type running back, a la Van Egan, Hubbard, you name them. That's the type of people they've had here. They get a guy like Marcus Allen, and that really puts a plus point on their board. I don't know how you stop him. I've watched him play twice. 49ers tried. Didn't stop him in a whole afternoon. I can't see where Cleveland's done anything either.
Chris Farr again hits the extra point. And the Raiders open up a 27-10 lead with 12 minutes left to play in the game. We'll be back to the Coliseum after this.
It's Atari's.
Thank you, Mike. Back here at the Los Angeles Coliseum, the Raiders on a very workmanlike professional drive of 80 yards in 11 plays, with Frank Hawkins landing off tackle into the end zone for the touchdown. And the powerhouse team of the American Conference this season, the Raiders open up a 27-10 lead. Now the kickoff. Here comes Dino Hall. Out across the 30 and a penalty marker comes in. Down goes Dino. Kickoff man Chris Barr actually got him. 11:49 to play. A hold is signaled against Cleveland.
It all started to go downhill in the second half after the first drive, opening the half when the Browns looked as if they were really threatening down about the 12, 15-yard line.
Holding, number 58, on the return team, first down.
And Charles White fumbled on a first down carry, and it's been all downhill since that time for the Browns.
Raiders with some impressive drives this year where they went for their touchdowns, long distance, 88, 89, and the last one 80 yards in 11 plays. First and 10, Cleveland. There's a rush by Howie Long. McDonald alludes that he's going to run, and he better hurry. Saved by the 12th man.
And sometimes that 12th fella doesn't get in your view quick enough.
Miami with a 28-13 lead over New England at the Orange Bowl.
Too little, too late.
Looks like it is with under 5 minutes to play now. So if the Raiders hold up, and it would take something extraordinary to keep them from doing that, they'll be on the home field next weekend for round 2 of the Super Bowl tournament, and so will Miami be on the home field at the Orange Bowl.
Well, stranger things have happened, and particularly to Cleveland. If you're a fan of the Cleveland Browns, you know that in 1980, I think they won about 7 games in the last 2 minutes to play, but now they've got to play awfully well to get into a position where a great play would help.
Raiders have the Browns offense where they want it, where they have to throw. A penalty marker goes down as there's a throw downfield by McDonald, and very nearly in the hands of Burgess Owens.
A little confusion right there.
Coach Vitigliano waiting to see what the call is. Referee McElwee.
You know, you take a look at coaches, and Stan Rutigliano is one of those who grows very well on anybody that he's around.
Illegal motion, two backs in motion against the offense. Second down.
And as he looks out on the field, you know he doesn't like that sort of confusion, but he can handle it. You know, when sometimes you see the greatness of people when it isn't going quite as well for them. And he started off with a bang, and these last couple of years have been rebuilding types, and he's going to be back.
McDonald on second down and 8 throws the ball, the sideline pattern way to the other side. Dwight Walker, who had 3 first-half receptions, catches it, and Hendricks is there to knock him down. 11:23 to play. McDonald, the Southern California native, out of Anaheim, in Southern California, University of Southern California, where he led that team to 2 Rose Bowl wins and a national championship back at the Coliseum, where he's never been beaten as a starting quarterback. But as we mentioned earlier, as he put it, I never played for SC at this stadium where I wasn't a big favorite. Our team wasn't. And now you see the running dominance of Marcus Allen out-rushing the whole Cleveland Brown running game. It's mostly a passing game, and now it's 3rd and 1. They go to the throw and get a first down. Ozzie Newsome catches the ball on Rod Martin.
And you notice that Rod Martin is very close to Ozzie Newsome, all right? Now, all day long, if you're a quarterback, you sometimes miss open receivers. But let's take a look at the defensive secondary for the Raiders. And there aren't an awful lot of people open, and there haven't been all day long. And when there have been open receivers, he's hit them. Take a look at this throw to Ozzie Newsome on the left side, just a couple of specks on your screen, but there isn't a lot of separation between Newsome and the linebacker.
Blint gave that aerial view. Now McDonald is swept under. 4th time he's been sacked. Howie Long finished him off. A 275-pound defensive end from Villanova just ran over the tackle.
I think that, Howie Long, it looks like he's going to be a great defensive end. In defeat again. You take a look at Paul McDonald. He hasn't made a big mistake all day long for the Browns. He's taken those 4 sacks. He's come up off the ground. He's continued to throw the ball and throw it very well. He's another quarterback of the future.
4th sack, 38 yards. Raider defense putting the heat down. This time McDonald gets time to gun it downfield. He has Logan for the first time, and Dave Logan's out across the 45. Well-thrown ball, and Dave Logan coming off the left flank, cutting over the middle, makes a 26-yard reception.
And that's what we're talking about when we say, okay, he takes his lick, he gets off the grass, hangs in there, and looks down the field. There are a lot of quarterbacks who take that sort of beating, and they start finding different things. They don't see the same clarity that they can see when they're having a nice, easy time of it. But this guy seems to go back the same way every play, hangs in there, got a pretty good pass rush, puts it over the linebacker and right into Logan's hands, got the first down.
9:10 to play and the clock running. Cleveland trailing the Raiders 27-10. Free ball, looks like the Browns had it.
Oh my, Lyle Alzado got a piece of Paul McDonald in his throwing motion.
Like that, the center fell on the ball. Alzado comes in like a freight.
Well, look at
one direction.
This wasn't. This was Rod Martin. I was wrong. Number 53 got McDonald before he could get the ball up and away. Went as a fumble. Good alert play by Babb. Kept control of it.
So the ball is at the Cleveland 38-yard line. Now the Browns have it 2nd down and 18. McDonald's not been intercepted, as you see. Gets in, guns it hard. He's got his man, Ricky Feature, and Feature's ahead and almost broke it. He's down to the 39-yard line of the Raiders.
Looks like a holding penalty down back there. You can see the offensive line is not moving up the field.
Can take the front out of the big play.
Well, Alzado has intimidated not only the defensive line, but maybe a few others. That's the second call. I don't know if this one's on Matt Miller, but I get the feeling it is.
Holding, number 73, offense, 2nd down.
Deacon, they put Doug back, but he's doing the same thing. Okay, that's Doug Deacon. He's pushing Alzado into McDonald. I don't know what you call it. I can't tell the difference between holding and a good block anymore.
He's got 8 guys down there that can in the striped shirts.
Or are responsible to.
Second and long. Second and 28. There's the throw downfield and almost intercepted. Feature couldn't make a play on it. It was too high, and Ted Watts almost had it. Ricky Feature came to the Browns as a free agent. 1976. Out of Mississippi Valley State. Wherever that is.
Well, they know in Mississippi.
So they do. And turn out some good football players. 29-yard line. I think the Cowboys had an all-pro tackle out of that school. Okay, I can't think of his name. That's two of us. Third down and 28. Great reception.
Oh, my
Dwight Walker. Went to the moon to get it on 3rd and 28. He got 22 of it back.
Wait a minute. Now you see an official coming in all the way from the line of scrimmage to give him the "I don't think you caught it" routine, and they're taking it all the way back to the line of scrimmage. We'll see what kind of an angle we can get in this play. You see again, McDonald goes back there. He's still firing that ball down the field. The only chance that they have. Let's see if we can catch the end of it. He's got it now. Nope. I guess it hit the ground, never had control.
Fourth down and 28. 7:56 to go it is, and Steve Cox in to punt now for Cleveland. Hitting the ball well here in Southern California. Not too deep this time. Pruitt will run it back. Greg Pruitt to the 40. And Pruitt on a 38-yard punt returns it 9 yards, and so the Los Angeles Raiders go back on offense in command of the game, 27-10 with 7:45 to play when we come back. The Raiders breaking up a close game at halftime with 2 second-half touchdowns to take a 27-10 lead. Don Criqui with John Brody. John, these Raiders just have too much right now. They're just overpowering Cleveland up front where it counts.
Well, to me, I mean, they've always had aspects of their football team that were overpowering, but I haven't seen a weakness today. I mean, every area you take a look at is dominant. You know, offensive line, defensive line, running back. They can play everybody on their roster right now, and they seem to drop none.
Giving some new people some work. Chester Willis runs the ball for the Raiders. From Auburn, they've turned out some great runners, particularly in the recent years. Joe Cribbs and William Andrews in one backfield. Chester Willis was around also. Now, the Raiders holding to the big lead with a 2nd down and 9 play coming up.
There's Coos.
Tom Cousineau. 3 of the Cleveland defensive starters are from Cleveland, Ohio. Cousineau, Golick, and defensive end Mike Robinson. The number 1 player selected in the NFL draft out of Ohio State. Cousineau, as we know, went to Canada for 3 years. Was voted the best defensive player up there. Came down, had some trouble in the beginning because he wasn't used to linemen that big coming at him as an inside backer.
Well, they're not going to get any smaller either.
He's played well today, though, Cousineau. So have the Raiders as they lead it 27-10. Plunkett throws it out in the flat. Greg Pruitt working for some yards and gets to midfield. Knocked down by Mike Robinson. Game clock down to 6:14 to play. More AFC playoff action coming up tomorrow on NBC. The Steelers and the Chargers meet up at Pittsburgh, Three Rivers Stadium. And then at Cincinnati, Ohio, at Riverfront, the Bengals and all that offense and the NFL's number 1 passer, Ken Anderson, hook up with the New York Jets, who are coming off uninspired showing in the final regular season game, but who promised they will be ready tomorrow.
And they've got a group that can get ready.
Joe Klecko comes back tomorrow, the all-pro defensive end. Marty Lyons, the tackle's ready to go. I'm sure all the Jets will be, as will the Bengals. I'll be watching. Great guy hunts the ball downfield. Dwight Walker takes it for Cleveland. Gets to the 15. Derek Jensen made the cover as the punt traveled 45 yards and return was 10. So right now, we have a break-in play here at Los Angeles Coliseum. Oldest Coliseum, you see the numbers. 27-10, Los Angeles Raiders leading the Cleveland Browns. Fourth quarter with 5:22 left to play. Browns with the ball and only a faint hope of advancing in the playoffs. We found out, John, today why those good teams were on the home field to start the playoffs. You got to show off the dominance. Big winners at home in all 4 games. Here's McDonald throwing and intercepted almost by Jeff Barnes, who you remember had that fumble recovery early in the third quarter when the Browns drove right down the field after taking the kickoff. This could very well be a different ball game. The Browns drove it down to the 13-yard line. Miami winning 28-13. Charles White hit by Alzado, fumbled the ball, and it was recovered by Barnes, and the drive was stopped. We welcome those of you who have been watching the Dolphins and the New England Patriots. Miami advancing with that win. This is Don Criqui with John Brody at the Los Angeles Coliseum. The Cleveland Browns stayed close through the first half. They trailed at halftime 13-10. Now as McDonald guns it long on an incomplete pass. The Raiders have been dominant though in the second half, outscoring Cleveland 14-0. The Raiders with long drives in this game, 88 yards, 89 yards, and 80 yards for touchdowns. McDonald, a former Southern California Trojan who played so well here at the Coliseum, has not been intercepted today, and you see the number of times he's put the ball up. But the Raider pass rush has been dominant also. They've sacked him 4 times.
And he has taken several very good licks. I think he's shown his ability very well. The Browns have shown their inability in several areas. I'm sure they'll be better in the future, but this is when it really is a lot of fun to be a quarterback. Here he is back there throwing end-over-end balls. The defensive linemen are in their starting block, and you have 2 chances, none and none.
You've got an interesting outlook on a good time, John. If this is fun.
That's what I mean. I think you picked it up.
5:05 left to go in the game as McDonald comes up short on third down and Cox is in to punt again. The Raiders this season continue to practice in the Oakland area, so really every game they play involves a plane trip. They fly back and practice in Oakland and come down, play their home games here in the Los Angeles Coliseum, where there's 57,000 here today. Lyle Alzado, the ex-Brown, has had an excellent game for Los Angeles today. This is the 5th punt of the game for Steve Cox. Greg Pruitt, an ex-Cleveland Brown, is waiting back deep now for the Raiders. They're hoping for an offside. That's not going to happen as the Raiders wait. Kick. It's well. Rides Pruitt back to his 35-yard line. Cleveland gets him at the 45. A 49-yard punt by Cox with 4:53 left to play. So Sam Rutigliano, who answered the critics who said his Browns didn't belong by saying we're just playing by the ground rules, they said we could come with our record. Way down at this point.
We are USA 1.
2 years ago, Rutigliano was Coach of the Year. This year, Tom Flores is on the right, a man who wears his success very well. Jim Plunkett said when he moved up to succeed John Madden, Tom Flores never changed a bit, and we all appreciated that. And he certainly gets the Raiders to play for him, just as they did for Madden. The great tradition of the Raiders continues as they're winning here today 27-10. Frank Hawkins carries, and Mike Robinson's on the tackle on a first down carry.
You know, it's funny when you look at Tom Flores and say, you know, a lot of people misread expression and emotion. I mean, Tom Flores is an extremely emotional person, but not very expressive. And once in a while he lets it out. But I think it's very important for a head coach to be stable. And if there's one quality that he has head and shoulders, that's stability.
Flores discusses himself, says I'd probably say less than most head coaches, but they know what I mean. Gets his point across. On 2nd down and 8, the Raiders run the ball again as they continue to run the clock. Also, that's down to 4:10 to play. Favorites holding up. Dominating, really, on the home fields on this opening day of the Super Bowl tournament.
You see a fella in there today, Don. Right now, number 84 is in for the first time for the Raiders. Derek Ramsey, I believe, had 53 catches last year, has yet to catch a ball this year. It's just the fact that Todd Christensen has come on and had a great year as a tight end, and that's what happens.
Third down and 7 for the Raiders. Plunkett with men running deep. He gets a tight end in Derek Ramsey. Ramsey getting his first reception of the day, and he's ahead for a first down.
His first reception of the year, Donnie. We just discussed the fact that he hadn't had one all year. You can see the smile.
He had over 50 last year.
That's right. He had 53. But this is a one-on-one situation. Plunkett still likes to fire that ball. The game hasn't ended, so let's go after it. Ramsey carries number 20, Judson Flint, forward for about 6, and they've got another first down. They might just run the game out right here.
2:50 to play, and the Raiders break the huddle with the ball at the Cleveland 30-yard line. Los Angeles in the lead, 27-10. With a run into Greg Pruitt. Gets a chance to go against his old mates, the Browns. He takes it to the 25. Lyle Alzado had an interesting observation before the game. I asked him what's the difference playing in the Raider organization is. Some other places said the one thing you really notice is that they'll fit the game plan to the people. They never try to force the people into a game plan.
And I think it's been a trademark of Al Davis. They get good people and find a way to utilize them and their best abilities. And he says, I like it much better that way, too. He said, his qualities are those that he says, I get after it. I'm a good pass rusher, but I really don't need to play all 16 games, 60 minutes a game. And since we only have 9 games this year, he says, I like to turn hit.
Well, Flory said when he came in, they weren't sure just how healthy he was. He had some knee problems, but he's been in a very stringent training regimen under a woman out here in Los Angeles, and he says he's in the best shape he's ever been in. Now another of those fantastic finishes. Technical Director Ray Figelski, Associate Director Ray Benassi. Thanks in the booth to Steve Dan, Steve Horn, Rich Winograd, and Shep Goldberg. We'll be back to the Coliseum right after this. The Raiders closing in on yet another win. It'll be their 9th in 10 games this season. 8-1 in the regular season play, best in the American Conference, and the home field theirs again next week.
And it might be interesting, too, John, that they do play each other next week, depending on how the seeds and how they won the games this week. And so you can't really determine who's playing who till after tomorrow's contest.
Some of those tomorrow are going to be a little closer.
I hope so.
Here's Plunkett on 3rd down and 9. Oops. They sack him for the second time in the game. Mike Robinson gets him. He's a load and starting to come out in his second year.
All right, here's the guy's had 386 total yards for the afternoon. Couple interceptions early. He's got it. Whoops. Well, look at this big fella. Mike Robinson coming in here. He gets underneath his grasp, and that's how you stay alive in this game.
2 sacks for the Cleveland Browns. The Oakland Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders, continuing their dominance as their best pass rushing team, have 4. Let's go to NFL 82 in New York.
Thank you, Don Quickie.
Thank you, Len. 1:39 left to go here at Los Angeles in the Coliseum. 57,000 were here at the outset of the day. We're heading to the parking lot as the Raiders have won this game in the second half with 14 points and have shut out the Browns. Cleveland had a chance to take the lead at the outset of the third quarter when they drove way down the field and then fumbled the ball away. Ray Guy ready to punt the ball. Cleveland not putting anybody back. They're going to try to block it if they can. Guy gets it away into and out of the end zone for a touchback, so the Browns get the ball at their 20. Business as usual for Ray Guy.
Yes, sir. There aren't any 18-point plays, so this game is history.
Okay, if there isn't, they're sure looking for one. The Super Bowl playoff action continues tomorrow as the defending American Conference champion Cincinnati Bengals, led by passing leader Ken Anderson, go against Richard Todd and the New York Jets. Dan Fouts and Eric Coryell try to take off against the Steelers at Pittsburgh. Check your local listings for the game in your area. We'll kick off today at 12 noon with NFL 82 on the home of the Super Bowl. Across from the Coliseum, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, the site of Super Bowl 17. Here's a swing pass, goes out to fullback Mike Pruitt. Out across the 25-yard line. Opening day of the 16-team Super Bowl tournament. Redskins, Detroit, no contest, 31-7. Less of a one at Green Bay, where the Packers routed the Cardinals 41-16. Miami avenging the snowblower loss, winning over New England 28-13. New England can't remember when they last won at the Orange Bowl.
When it was snowing.
Here's a throw over the middle and a lateral play. The hook and ladder as Neeson caught it, gives it to Pruitt. Blew that old Miami Dolphin magic, but not to the end zone with 52 seconds left to play. 19 yards. The Dolphin hook and ladder.
This is strictly educational. This is what you call the flea flicker. Throw the ball to the wide receiver. It's inside the last minute of play, and Mike Pruitt, I hope, did not pull a muscle. That pretty well sums it up. Judson Cliff, expressionless.
His last moments in the Southern California sun. Back to Cleveland, wait till next year. Here's a long throw downfield, incomplete at the 25-yard line. Newsom was going for the ball. Big Ozzie from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, another great season with 49 receptions.
Here's a guy who's been playing 59 minutes. He knows they've got to throw the ball down the middle. Somebody's going to throw it. But look out, because it's very dangerous down there, and nothing can be won at this point.
47 seconds left to go. The Browns at the outset were behind 3-0. Raiders drove down the field. Their first possession went in front 3-0 on a field goal by Chris Barr. Cleveland came back there after stopping the Raider long drive and kicked the field goal to tie it. And it was 10-3 on a Marcus Allen touchdown run for Los Angeles. Browns came back to tie it 10-10. Raiders broke the tie and led 13-10 at halftime. Then in the second half, they scored 2 touchdowns, 2 extra points, and they have a lock on the game, 27-10 with 42 seconds left to play. Their offense has been huge. Some of the Browns winding down their season. 42 seconds left to go.
Curtis Weathers, number 55, had a fine year. Got a lot of playing time this year when Clay Matthews went down.
Evan Turner, the other linebacker. Paul McDonald went the distance today during the week. Brian Sipe and McDonald worked equally with the Brown first offensive unit down in Anaheim. Here's the penalty marker. There's a sack by Johnny Robinson, puts McDonald down. Sack number 6. Kyle Alzados given the rest of the afternoon off. He did a big job. That's a tough customer. He doesn't stop talking either, Robinson. He's got him on a couple personal fouls. When they say get the quarterback, John.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. You got to be kidding. Defense. You got to be kidding. Shot to the head.
That was the voice of Mr. Robinson. I'm glad his language was acceptable, but sometimes when you get close to the head man and he's got his mic on, that's what he takes. He gets a little abuse. He only got him with one hand. He was just trying to do anything he could to get the quarterback down on the ground, and he wasn't kidding.
That little kung fu shout in there. Now first and 10 for Cleveland on the penalty. McDonald comes out of the pocket, holds up, lets her fly. That would have gone a long way had Ted Watts been able to come up with that one. Dave Logan, the intended receiver, and Ted Watts with a play on the ball, and he knew he had an open track and a fast one all the way down the far sideline to the end zone. Second down and 10 coming up for the Browns with 28 seconds left to play.
Boy, if you could just take a poll of all the wide receivers right now on the Cleveland Brown football team, you would not be throwing the ball. They would love to say, okay, folks, let's just wave the white handkerchief. This game goes to the Los Angeles Raiders. They're the better team today, and we'll see them on another day because they are tired.
80 degrees and a little bit of humidity in Southern California. It's worn both sides down, but the Raiders have handled it well as Pruitt heads for and stops the clock with the out of bounds at the 20-second mark. Clock ticking down to 20. After the first game of the year here after the strike, San Diego went against the Raiders. It was about like this, really. A lot of people have left because of the score. Today, Dan Fouts told the owner, Gene Klein of San Diego, I wouldn't want 55% of this growth. Then Doug Deacon of the Browns said that they don't want 55% of the growth. They want 55% of Cousineau's salary. He's come in as the highest paid linebacker ever and has really come out in the second half of the season.
They're all doing okay.
best part is they're back earning, playing. That's right. McDonald throws down the far sideline. Reception, will it go? Ball is taken in. Danny Fulton stepped out of bounds before he had the ball.
You know, you take a look and you say, hey, the ball game's over. 74, Archie Reese, the nose tackle, came from the San Francisco 49ers this year. Reuben Vaughn, 99. We've seen the effort that Robinson's been putting forth in the last minute. These guys just want a chance to get into the action. On the other side of the coin, I think the linemen for Cleveland would just like a chance to get out of it. It's been a long day for them. They're on the wrong end of the score, and you can see by the expression of Kuzma it isn't in their favor.
4 opening playoff games, and not one of them close. And the final gun went off, and the gun goes off here very shortly as a odd strike is put on. Fulton coming in, and Matt Millen put the big hit on. Dave Logan coming across, and boys are going to mix it up a little before we tune this one out.
Not gonna. They're doing it. Somebody better straighten it up.
Only a game. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WKYC TV3 in Cleveland.
Ted Hendricks, Reuben Vaughn, the combatant, going after the Browns for the LA Raiders.
Player who broke it all up, Ted Hendricks. And when he speaks, everybody listens.
Ted Hendricks heads to the Pro Bowl once again.
And rightly so. What's he got, 9 sacks in 10 games as a linebacker?
We'll watch again now to see how it started off.
As so often happens, they start with a loose ball. An offensive lineman thinks Reuben Vaughn came up with a fumble recovery. He did not. Now Hendricks is trying to break it up between Vaughn and the offensive lineman.
That's the Lamalier down.
And whatever, it's generally just a misunderstanding. They can't hurt each other in helmets and shoulder pads, but will this game ever end?
The inevitable has been delayed for a while, but now Jim Plunkett with the quarterback touchdown, and the game kicks out, and the Raiders roll on. McDonald returned to the Coliseum.